Brown from Griffith University, Brisbane, Australia, Professor Peter J. Vanderspeck from Erasmus Medical Center, the Netherlands, and Professor Anil Kumar Chauhan, Professor and Director of Thrombosis and Vascular Biology from University of Iowa, the United States of America. This symposium brings together leading experts from across the globe and our own distinguished faculty to deliberate on the rapidly evolving landscape of biomedical science, where cutting-edge molecular technologies and artificial intelligence are converging to transform healthcare. Personalized medicine is no longer a concept of the future. It is shaping present-day clinical decision-making by enabling more precise, predictive, and patient-centric therapies. Through insightful talks on genomics, omics-driven technologies, microalgae-based health interventions, and AI-enabled precision medicine, today's discussion aim to foster interdisciplinary collaboration, inspire innovation, and strengthen our collective vision towards improved human health. I am confident that this symposium will serve as a vibrant platform for knowledge exchange, meaningful discussions, and new collaborations. Thank you, and I wish everyone an engaging and enriching session. We now move to the lamp lighting and Saraswati Vandana. The lighting of the ceremonial lamp symbolizes the invocation of knowledge, wisdom, and enlightenment. I kindly request all our esteemed dignitaries to please come forward and join us in lighting the lamp, accompanied by the invocation marking the auspicious commencement of this inaugural session. So please put your hands together for all our esteemed dignitaries.
शंकर प्रभृतिभिः देवै सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्म विचारसार परमाम् आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणा पुस्तकधारिणीमभयदां जाड्यान्धकारापहा हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीम्
Thank you, everyone. May I now invite Professor Dr. Chandradeep Tandon, Additional Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean Faculty of Biosciences and Biotechnology, to deliver the welcome address. Professor Tandon is presently serving as the Additional Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean Faculty of Biosciences and Biotechnology at Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. With over 27 years of research experience, he is widely recognized for his contributions to kidney stone pathogenesis, medicinal plant metabolomics, and proteomics-driven drug discovery. A fellow of the Royal Society of Biology and the Royal Society of Chemistry, Professor Tandon is an accomplished scientific leader with multiple funded projects, patents, and high-impact publications. Please put your hands together to welcome sir.
Thank you so much, and a very good morning to everyone. On the behalf of most respected Honorable President Sir Dr. Shokesh Chauhanji, Honorable Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhanji, respected Vice Chancellor Madam Dr. Silla Murthy ji, Dr. B.C. Das ji, all senior faculty, and on my own behalf, I very warmly welcome Professor Hari Sharma ji, who is from Erasmus University Medical Center, Netherlands. He'll be today delivering a very interesting lecture on genomics of human heart failure, identifying therapeutic target genes. And in fact, the whole title of this symposium is also very interesting and going to be very enlightening. That is Advances in Personalized Medicine and the Role of Artificial Intelligence in Precision Therapy. Professor Sharma is a very good friend of MIT since last many years, and I met him on several occasions. And Dr. Sharma, we are really, really very, very happy and privileged for having you with us. Let's very warmly welcome with a round of applause, Dr. Sharma ji. I welcome Professor Lindsay Brown from Griffith University, Brisbane, Australia. In fact, I was just, interacting with him. He's immensely experienced person in his area, and he told me that he is semi-retired. So I asked him what is the meaning of that. So he said, it is a passion in me which keeps me going and which is very, very important. And as we always know that an ounce of experience is worth tons of theory. Age is no bar when it comes to passion, when it comes to science or your profession. So very warm welcome to you, Professor Brown, on this particular occasion. I welcome Professor Peter. He's from Erasmus Medical Center, Netherlands. He will be delivering a lecture on omics-driven technology in personalized medicine based on his expertise. So we are looking forward to hearing from you, Professor Peter. Let's very warmly welcome him. I welcome again Dr. Linda, who is here with us. So, Dr. Linda, we warmly welcome you once again to MIT University, Uttar Pradesh, and also among this August audience where most of our people who are sitting here are in the area of science and technology across all the disciplines. And also we have students and scholars who are looking forward to interacting with you and hearing from you. I'm sure this is going to be a very, very interesting program which has been rolled out for you. And without much ado, uh, I would just say that we also have a visit to labs after this, and you will be visiting and seeing our facilities, our infrastructure of various institutions, which are the state of the art when it comes to research and innovation. MIT University, Dr. Silamurthy will be telling you in details. MIT University's tagline is research and innovation, and we live up to it, and which is evidenced by our rankings, by our standing today in the world when it comes to research, whether it's funded projects, research publications, patents, technology transfer, or commercialization. And the most important intangible part in all our faculty and scientists is that passion. So, with this, I warmly welcome everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful remarks about the symposium. May I now request Dr. W. Silvamurthy, sir, to address the gathering and provide an overview of research at Amity University. Before I call him on stage, I would like to read a brief bio sketch about him. Dr. W. Silvamurthy is presently working with Amity University as president of Amity Science, Technology and Innovation Foundation and Director General for Amity Directorate of Science and Innovation, and as well Chancellor of Amity University, Chhattisgarh. Dr. Silvamurthy served the DRDO, Ministry of Defense, Government of India for close to 40 years in various leadership positions. He superannuated from DRDO in 2013 as Distinguished Scientist and Chief Controller Research and Development and joined Amity University thereafter in his present roles. At Amity University, Dr. Silvamurthy has been instrumental in augmenting the research activities since his joining the organization for making Amity a research and innovation driven university. He has been involved in facilitating research activities such as building collaboration for research and development at the national and international levels, commercialization of technologies developed by the scientists and researchers at Amity universities, guiding and promoting the faculty and researchers for developing 5Ps, which are projects, PhDs, publications, patents, and products. So with this brief bio sketch and with deep respects, I would like to invite Sir and to present his remarks. Please put your hands together and welcome him.
Fine. Yeah.
Very good morning to every one of you. Very distinguished guests, on behalf of Founder President Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan ji, who has spent 20 years, 28 years in Europe, Germany, and then on return, he built such a kind of Amity universe, which is 12 universities in India, 18 campuses abroad, 28 schools, and we have 250,000 students, 250,000 students, 10,000 faculties, 5,000 PhD scholars. So this universe he has created. And the main purpose with which he has created is to create a happy world through our future global citizens who are sitting, some of them are sitting over here, and some of them, all of them in the various universities and institutions. So welcome, Founder President, and I'm so happy that you are the inspiration for all of us. And our Dr. Harish Sharma is very close to you, and since your Germany days, and you'll be happy to see that he is now connecting Amity Universe with his Indian Academy of Biomedical Sciences and with his own institutions. And he has brought brilliant brains here to launch certain initiatives both in research and academics. So let's give a big clap to our founder president, Dr. Ashok Chauhan ji. Now, I also would like to welcome Dr. Atul Chauhan, the Chancellor, and who is now the president of our foundation, who is giving a new charismatic, dynamic leadership for all the Amity Education Group, institutions, industries. And he is a product of University College of London and also London School of Economics. And such people are guiding, governing, and inspiring, motivating the whole education group and all of us. So Chancellor, sir, thank you so much. Because yesterday he rang up, he spoke to me on phone to check whether our guests are comfortable, who have come all the way from Australia, USA, UK, Netherlands. So they're all very happy, satisfied, comfortable. So he personally checked and also their programs. So thank you, Chancellor, sir, for giving so much attention to research and innovation. We need your patronage, support, guidance for taking our outcome of research in all our Amity universe. So with this, I like to welcome our very distinguished guest, Professor Harish Sharma. He is a Erasmus University Medical Center, Netherlands. And I know him for 45 years. You know, we did PhD when I was doing PhD at the Delhi University. He was doing at the Patel Chest, Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute, where Professor Paintel, A.S. Paintel, used to be the director of that VP Chest Institute. And he did MPhil, and I passed out at that time, 1982. I did my PhD, and he passed MPhil at that time. And then he completed his PhD in 1984. So we know each other since 1980s onwards. So he is a very, very committed, devoted, passionate researcher. And I'm so happy that he keeps coming almost every year to Amity University. And he brings wealth of knowledge, current developments in his own field, and the people whom he brings. So it is an enrichment of our knowledge base and repository. Thank you so much, Sharmaji. And in this visit, we sat together and said that we should launch something together. Collaborative, concrete collaborative proposals in the form of research collaboration with our experts, as well as academic collaboration. But that is why the outcome, our founder president always said there should be a fruitful, sustainable outcome on anything what we do. So in this, we would like to see at the end of the hour in the wrap-up session, what we can do together, what we can launch together. So that is going to be the focus of the visit, and we expect that outcome. I need the help of all the faculties and also heads of the institution to see that with that presentation which they are going to make, which is very important to us, which is personalized medicine and precision medicine. These two are the one which we have been talking about since 5,000 years, when we had Prakriti, Trigunas. In our Ayurveda system, is nothing but personalized medicine. So this is already there in our culture, in our tradition, but now we are looking at in a scientific way at molecular level and also at the cellular level. So that is what is the focus, advances in personalized medicine, the role of AI in precision therapy. So that is going to be the focus. So thank you so much, Hari, for bringing this topic, which is of very, very great relevance globally and also particularly to our country, where we want to give affordable, accessible healthcare. So can we use that traditional knowledge of personalized medicine, Prakriti, and all others in our scientific way? Then I also welcome Professor Lindsay Brown, Griffith University, Australia, because Australia is a very strong strategic partner for our country. They are member of a Quad, which is looking at the application in the Indian Ocean region. And so we have a diplomatic relationship as well from Australia. I'm so happy that Griffith University, we have an MOU that our Amity, the International Affairs Division, has a MOU with Griffith, and we like to see what we can do together with Professor Lindsay Brown, as well as with Dr. Linda, and also Professor Peter J. Vanderspeck from Erasmus University. Again, he is also from the same university of Professor Sharma, and we like to work together. And Professor Anil Chauhan was to come today, but his father-in-law had a tragic, the demise. So he is not available today. Maybe that if at all he is able to join us, he will join us a little later. And also I welcome Dr. Pranath, who is doing, just get up. So young, medical doctor from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, who is doing intern and who is closely associated with Dr. Hari Sharma. So she has particularly come from AIMS to interact with. Thank you so much, Pranath, and welcome to Amity University. So we are going to have a wonderful exposition. So I thank all of them, and also all my colleagues, all the very senior colleagues in the health and allied areas. We have brought heads of the institutions. They're all bubbling with energy, enthusiasm to look at where do we connect each other, where do we converge to start a collaboration. So I thank every one of you here. I'm not naming anyone, but I welcome all the Amity faculties, heads of the institution, students, PhD scholars. Let's give a big clap to our students and PhD scholars, because as I was talking to Professor Lindsay, and you are the future. You are the future and the present. So prepare yourself, equip yourself. That is why we organize, we invite you to come and rub shoulders with these giants in the field, so that you will inspire, you will learn from them, you will emulate some of their the qualities and achievements, and some of the aspects, they become role model to you. That's why we bring you, and you have to be very attentive, listen to them, assimilate, ruminate everything what they are going to say, and then ultimately transform it into application. Now, coming to the visit, it is in a very opportune time that you are visiting here, because when India is bubbling with the vibrancy, the greatest vibrancy in the precedence of the whole history of India and the history of the world, we are in a very opportune time to look at where do we work together, converge, bring partnership, collaboration. Because India has now declared Viksit Bharat, which is developed India, by 2047, which is the 100th year of our independence, that we want to become a developed world. To see that how do we contribute to human development. So in this, your countries, your governments, USA, Australia, Netherlands, and also UK, all this you have contributed to our growth, whatever so far we are. So I must express our gratitude from India as a citizen of India, gratitude to all your governments that you people have been helping us. We look forward to develop this Viksit Bharat jointly with you. We will work with you and develop this. So it's a very opportune time where there's an educational policy, national education policy, which is looking at how do we, inclusive education. Yeah, our gross enrollment ratio in higher educational institution is today at 28%. But then we want to make it 50%. So that is where, how do we connect? Can we do dual degrees, joint degrees, and also your campus here, our campus in your countries? So we are looking at all strategies and models to see that inclusive education to enhance, almost double the gross enrollment ratio in higher education institution. So that is an opportunity for us to work together in the academics. In the research, we want India to be a cradle of innovation. We want India to be Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliance in technologies and solutions. So can we work together to find solutions of our problem together with you? So that is an opportune time for working together in research, innovation. We have the third largest startup ecosystem, and our entrepreneurship development is growing. Our GDP is growing at 7% in spite of all the wars and difficulties across the globe. And we are very close to $5 trillion GDP. And every year we will add 1 trillion to our GDP, reaching about $35 trillion by 2047. So that is, so why I'm telling this is an opportune time when the middle class strata of education demanding population is increasing. So there is need to have collaboration both in research and academics. So with this, I welcome you all for this. And this topic was very specifically chosen by Dr. Harish Sharma because this is a very important emerging area. I'm so happy that you chose this topic. And omics, multi-omics, whether it's proteomics, genomics, lipidomics, metabolomics, all this is going to be playing a very important role in two aspects: personalized medicine, the pharmacogenomics, as well as in the field of the precision medicine. You have to give the right quantity of medicine, right dosage, right time, looking at the pharmacodynamics. These are all very important so that you can, it is not that you cannot, every human being is unique in terms of physiology, in terms of psychology. So you need to approach. That is why this precision therapy, it involves how do you approach this through the genetics, pharmacogenomics, as well as the other even personality will decide whether it's a type A, type B personality. All this will be deciding your medical protocols and even dosage. So that is why this topic has been chosen. Now, finally, let us bring a research and academic synergy and create affordable, accessible healthcare, not just 1.42 billion people, but for 8 billion people across the globe. That is what is the aim of this mini symposium. So welcome once again on behalf of Founder President, as well as the Chancellors, and also our Madam Chairperson, Dr. Mrs. Amita Chauhan, and all of us from Amity family, welcome you all. Now, I'll give a little glimpse, maybe next 5-6 minutes, so that you get an idea about the research ethos as well as ecosystem. So we are so delighted to welcome such a very distinguished delegation from the Netherlands, Australia, and also from USA. Now, to look at the Amity Universe, as I mentioned, that we have today 12 universities in India, 18 campuses abroad, 250,000 students, 10,000 faculties, 5,000 PhD scholars, and this is and about 8 lakh alumni, 800,000 alumni across the globe. Every campus looks, this is in India, we are in 12 provinces, states, and we want to be in every state soon. These are campuses in Dubai, Mauritius, Singapore, London, Romania, USA. We have 2 campuses. We are in Netherlands. We are in Netherlands as a Amsterdam. We have our Amity International School. So we are almost everywhere. We are trying to reach Australia now. We are trying to establish a campus there, our independent university there. And so we have one in London. So we have all these 18 campuses, but we want to make 50 campuses in the next 10 years. The Amity will have 50 campuses across. This is the vision of Founder President, so which will happen soon. And then we are ranking wise. Our schools, even our schools are ranked among number 2 in the country today, Amity International Schools. We have also 5 preschools and 21 of the schools, of which 4 countries we have schools. And these are the schools overseas. We have beautiful one in Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Dubai, and also we are there in Amsterdam and Kenya. We have a school in Africa. So we have international schools across. And he is the founder president, because some of you may not have met. He is a PhD, doctorate in chemical engineering from Germany. And then he spent 28 years in Germany and Europe. He became the largest non-European investor when he stayed in Germany. Then he returned back to India and invested whatever his learning, earnings in 4 verticals: education, research, innovation, philanthropy. And he strongly believes in spiritual power. You may have economic power, military power, knowledge power, but then unless you have spiritual power, you won't be able to manifest your complete success. That is the philosophy. That is the philosophy with which our founder president inspires, motivates. Our chancellor, Dr. Atul Chauhan, as I mentioned, he has both engineering and management degree from the University College of London and the School of Economics. And I will quote his saying, we are creating centers of thought leadership. So we are creating centers of thought leadership. And across the world, where faculty, scientists, and brilliant students can explore and expand frontiers of knowledge. He always says, together with you, we will change the world. We will create a happy, healthy, peaceful, harmonious, peaceful world and prosperous world. Another chancellor, a product of the Wharton Business School, Dr. Asim Chauhan, and he says, our endeavor is to nurture holistic world citizens who are driven by human values and equipped to excel on a global stage. We want every student of ours to be successful and happy in life. Successful and happy. That is the purpose. So we are giving them knowledge, including spiritual knowledge, skills, including soft skills, good behavior, sanskars, values, resilience to face challenges in life. So this is what is Amity Education Group philosophy with which we all work on this mission. And we are ranked among top 3% of our university, as ranked by QS as well as the Times Higher Education Group, which has ranked Amity on the top 3% globally. And we are also in the employability. We are number 1 among the private universities. We are put in the elite club of IIT Delhi, Indian Institute of Science Bangalore, IIT Bombay, and Indian Institute of Management Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur, and Amity University. So this is QSS ranked only these universities in the employability of our graduates and students. That shows how do we groom them. Similarly, in Times Higher Education, in the international connectivity, we are in top 100 world globally. This is Times Higher Education Group assessment for internationalization in studies as well as collaboration. So we would like to collaborate with all of you. In the national level, there are 1,200 universities and institutions. We are number 22 in the merit list at the national level. Amity University stands at 22 at national NIRF ranking, which is the national ranking. And we are number 1 in terms of the general category of private universities. We are number 1 in the country. And also we have VASC accreditation, UK, QAA accreditation for Quality Assurance Agency. We have total quality management in everything what we do, whether it is learning, teaching learning outcome, or research and innovation, or services, outreach, everywhere we bring quality. And we generate large number of IPR, intellectual properties, in the form of patents, copyrights, as well as in the form of design registration, trademark. In all this, we are ranked number 1 in the country. And our founder president has received awards for the IP, intellectual property rights, from Minister of Commerce and Industries, Mr. Piyush Goyal, and also the Confederation of Indian Industries have bestowed with us 5 years. We have been consecutively getting these awards from NITI, Niti Aayog, and also Best Strong Ecosystem Research Awards. Again, you will see the founder president receiving and Madam Chairperson receiving for the schools, not only in the universities and the institutions in higher education, but even at the school level, our students excel and they get the IPR, Intellectual Property Award. They have startups at our school level, Amity International School. You see the Minister of Science and Technology awarding Dr. Ashok Chauhan, the founder president, for the prestigious Academia Award was bestowed on him. And also Liver Champion Award was given just last year by the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi because hepatitis, he goes to ILBS, and every year the Amity group participates and in controlling the liver diseases. And also he was the visionary leader in education award in 2025 by Business World. So many more. I have just put a few to show that Amity keeps receiving. The unique success, the ecosystem success is because of three missions: Mission Connect, Mission Synergy, Mission Outcome. We connect with people. We have 300 MOUs across the globe. And also we bring synergy to our partners' endeavors as well as our endeavors. We bring synergy and then we bring outcome in these collaborations. So your visit here today will be leading to a sustainable outcome, not outcome only today, but it has to be sustainable. So that is the mission outcome. So these are three important operational missions which the founder president has given. Technical vision, we have four missions. One is the technical mission in space. We want to be a major contributor to Indian Space Research Organization. We have a mission on green hydrogen for green energy. There is a second mission. And the third mission, which we have, is the quantum mission, which our chancellor has recently announced and with a huge investment commitment. And so quantum mission. Then we have a defense technology mission. So these missions technically drive the outcome from our laboratories. And just to give a little bit of research, we have our H index, which is one of the indicator of your impact of research. Our H index today is 203. It's actually 202, but it has moved to 203. So the Amity Education Group H index is 203. 48,000 research papers in journals of repute. Most of them are in Q1 journals. I want to emphasize Q1 journals, again indicating the quality and impact of our research. Then we also have 450 of the patents already granted. We have filed 2,808. 2808 is today's number. And then out of which more than 265 are granted. And 35 technology transfers we have done. And this is Amity's. And we have supercomputing facility, 10 petaflop computing capability and AI facility we have. We will take you to that labs. These are some of our beautiful labs. So we brought people. These are the people who build these. They have contributed to whatever I'm showing today. And then we built infrastructure, both from Amity investment, Amity group investment, as well as from government investment. So then we created a nuclear security. US Department of Defense invested $1.2 million here to develop a nuclear security facility for detectors, alpha, beta, gamma, neutron detectors. We have created this to educate people how do you secure nuclear asset in civilian sector. So this is nucleus. Then we have the AI center, 10 petaflop NVIDIA A100 system. And we also have now outcome has been leading to some of these startups. We have also encouraged our faculties to be startups. So he can be a professor in a department and also parallelly as a director of a company. So we have allowed this. And one of them is Dr. Ranu Nayak. Technology is nano sponge to absorb the oil spillage in ocean and in the refineries and also in installations wherever you deal the petroleum products. How do you quench this? How do you bring back and use these oils? How do you transport this oil in the sponge form? And so such kind of research we have done, and that's a startup by the faculty. So let me just conclude with this because I have a long presentation, but we want to listen to you. But we have built certain verticals. That is data science, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, robotics, astrobiology. We were the first one to send the biological payload from India to space from India. That is the callus of a plant, which is known as the spinach. And we sent to study the plant physiology. How does it grow? The callus formation, rooting, shooting, and plant physiology. We were studying at space for 45 days. Our payload was there. And now we are analyzing the data so that this will help us to grow vegetables in the International Space Stations and also in space. Cyber security is a big focus, hardware-based, software-based, and we have a separate group working on cyber security. Space science, we do a number of projects. I'll mention a few. The cognitive health monitoring of the spacecraft as it flies. If there is a defect coming in, anomaly coming in, how do we identify and correct and take corrective measures? So we do a project with ISRO. And the 40,000 debris floating around in the low Earth orbit. How do you manage them? When you plan the mission, space missions, how do you avoid such trajectories as well as the orbits where these are floating around? So we have mapped 10 centimeters and above size of the debris. So this is another project which we have done to space. And we are now looking at the health monitoring of the Gagan Yatri, that is astronauts who will go to our International Space Station, our spacecraft. So we are looking at their health monitoring. And also we are looking at the food and agriculture is a strong vertical. Cancer biology is another strong vertical. And we are looking at a triple conjugate, which will be a known anti-tumor agent, curcumin, and folate. Folate gives the signature of the cancer stem cell, and also the curcumin tones down the side effects of this chemotherapeutic agent. That also sensitizes the cancer stem cell membrane to take the conjugate in and maximize the effect. So we are doing a project on that, a triple conjugate. Dr. B.C. Das and his group is doing that. We have a strong neuroscience. Dr. B.N. Malik, who is a Bhatnagar Awardee and fellow of all the 4 academies. So he is driving this neuroscience. Virology and immunology, we have an institute. Click Chemistry is a new institute we have started about 10 years ago when John Moses visited here. Drug design and discovery, ocean atmospheric, and Indian systems of medicine. How do we look at Indian systems in a scientific way? In a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies, how you can carry out systematic control studies to put these systems on a scientific pedestal in terms of prophylactic, promotive, and curative potentials. So these are the areas. I'll stop here, and maybe at some opportune time we will discuss with you. And we have a space station at Dubai, and we do a lot of research on the heterojunction for the sensing biosensor development. I'll just run through. These are all, sensor is a very strong area. And then we have pesticide sensor to detect the pesticides on vegetables, and gas sensors of different type toxic gases, and also heart management using AI. Can you predict heart attack by looking at the phonocardiogram as well as the ECG? And we do a study like AI and healthcare. We have a very strong verticals AI and healthcare. I'll go to the last slide. These are some of the agriculture product which has gone to 8 industries. We have an incubator, which has incubated more than 1,200 startups. We have our own Amity Venture Capital. So if you have a brilliant idea, any one of them, student or faculty or a researcher, we support them and take the equities in those companies. So we have more than 1,100 ventures incubated in our incubator. 70 investments and 16 exits have happened through our incubator, and they're all doing well. Last slide. I would conclude with the founder president's statement. I quote Dr. Ashok Chauhan, and I can say with pride that my scientists, my researchers move with this confidence that they will do wonders and will add to the growth of the nation. This will help making India not only a knowledge superpower, but also a general superpower, unquote. Thank you, Founder President, and thank you for every one of you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for providing an illustrious overview of the Amity universe. Can we have a huge round of applause for the Amity universe? So may I now humbly invite Professor Hari S. Sharma, sir, from Erasmus University Medical Center, Rotterdam, the Netherlands, to kindly address the gathering. Before I invite him, let me just run through his bio sketch. So Professor Hari Shankar Sharma, sir, is a Dutch biomedical scientist and professor affiliated to Erasmus NC University Medical Center, Rotterdam. He joined VP Patel Chest Institute, Delhi University, and received his MPhil and PhD degrees in biochemistry. In 2005, he was awarded DSc in biochemistry for his single author work on angiogenesis and tissue remodeling in the heart and lung diseases. Dr. Sharma moved to Germany in early 1985 to the prestigious Max Planck Institute for Biophysical Chemistry as a postdoctoral fellow in the molecular biology. And then he moved to Netherlands to the Erasmus University Medical Center, Rotterdam as an assistant professor. His area of research includes role of growth factors, cytokines, and vasoactive agents in the pathogenesis of heart and lung diseases. Dr. Sharma has obtained a number of research grants, published 354 peer-reviewed papers, book chapters, abstracts, and cloned several genes, including porcine, VEGF, and FGF1. Dr. Sharma has been bestowed with numerous awards, medals, including Young Investigator Award of the International Society of Hypertension Australia in 1994, Distinguished Service Award of Heart Care Foundation from India in 1998, Medal of Merit at the World Congress of International Society of Heart Research at Canada 2004, Masters of Indo-European Intervention Council, Netherlands 2010, Excellence in Research and Innovations Award of Amity University, India 2012. Dr. Sharma is the founder president of the Indian Academy of Biomedical Sciences and is serving as an executive board member of Netherlands India Association, chair for Science and Technology Council of GOPIO, and member of several Indian, European, and international scientific societies. Dr. Sharma is a dedicated member of COVID-19 Research and Management Group of India as well. He believes that scientists and the medical practitioners are not rivals, but students and teachers of each other, as sharing of multidisciplinary knowledge makes breakthroughs in innovation and improve patient care. With this glorious biosketch, I now request Professor Hari Sharma sir to present his address. Please give him a huge round of applause.
Good morning to all of you. It's a privilege for me to be here at Amity, which is, I feel like a home, coming home. I must really confess that I'm associated, or rather linked with the founder president from 1985, 86 onward, when he has been one of the giant company of Indian origin in Germany. It was called AKC Group of Companies. And I have many fond memories from 80, from that, almost one decade. When we were landing in Frankfurt Airport, as soon as you come out from the aircraft, you would see a massive advertisement, AKC Group of Companies. We connect the world. We, all those kind of few words, but big banners. And, from that time onwards, I am associated with AKC Group of companies. And now I think you have seen, because here the growth has been tremendous after returning Dr. Ashok Chauhanji to India. And, he completely threw himself into education and started building one of the best campus of the, not only for UP, but also for the country. And continuously growing all over the world. So many campuses. I just saw a big presentation from Professor Selvamurthy, who is also known to me for 40 years from Patel Chest, because Dr. Painter, another giant and another, great scientist which India has produced, who was an inventor from those years. So I have not many memories in association, but also I have observed and followed the progress of the entire family. See, these are the family of institutions. So they were calling earlier the AKC Group of companies, but now called the Amity Universe. So they are everywhere. And so actually what happened is in 2018, we came here, and I was together with our delegation from Netherlands, and my Prime Minister, Mr. Mark Rutte, was with me, and many ministers, including Health Minister and Economics Minister, they were all together with us, and we came here. We came to Amity, and we have the existing MOU between Netherlands and Amity, for which Dr. Atul Chauhan came in just after a few months. He visited, and he said, okay, we would like to build a campus. in Netherlands, and it became a kind of big surprise to the mayor of the Amsterdam, Mr. van der Laan, and also the mayor of Amstelveen, which is a nearby city. And they said, okay, let's figure out. So we met Dr. Winter, who was the chairman of the board of the Amsterdam University, the Free University, and also the Amsterdam University. They all had a big meeting, and we were, had a major, all the contributing people from the government, Dutch government, were there in front of us, and they said, I think it's better to start with right now we have a big demand for international school in the Amsterdam area, because to create a campus will take several years, and there are so many kind of boundaries, because we have to get all kind of permissions first to create the building and all that. And Dr. Chauhan said, well, we can't wait, we want to do it now. So then they said, we can create a campus in campus. So they offered several buildings in free universities. You can have the campus in campus. We thought about it, we came out, and we said, well, we want our own. So they said, campus in campus is difficult, we want our own campus. And that was a difficult situation. They could not provide, we were asking for the piece of land, but they could not provide at that time. So we decided, okay, we go for the school. And yeah, this was starting in the morning, and before catching the flight in the evening, we concluded, we said, and they all came to the airport, and we were sitting in the room where our king sits in, because at the airport we have a very special lounge there. Our king is being received, and we were given the opportunity to be in that room all together. When the king is boarding the flight, that's a kind of lounge for him. And there we announced that we will build the best school of Netherlands, Dr. Chauhan, and we were recorded, and we had a all photograph session, and Dr. Chauhan went away. And from that day onward, they started working. They took me around, offered 4 or 5 different buildings. There's a shoe building in Amsterdam. Many buildings we were offered, but we could not make up our choice, because we wanted a real campus kind of. And we found one building, and we said that we would like to have this one, but that was not available that time. So they realized that we are interested in this building, and they probably persuaded all those companies, those who were in that building. And I think 2-3 months later, they came back and called me, Dr. Sharma, if you want to come and have a look at. So I visited that building, and as soon as I entered, I said, this is the what I was looking for. And from that day onward, it started to work. And within 2 months, we signed the MOU contract with the building. We rented first for something like 6 million or something. We rented for the first time, and then we said we will continue build that. And we said we will build it accordingly. And then, since this is a monument building, we cannot change anything from outside, but inside we can do whatever we want. So if somebody would be visiting, we have had many people there, all the ministers, mayors, and everybody, they have seen it. And now, obviously, the school is running now. We are there for 9 years or something like that. And we have really proven it that it's one of the best school. We competed with the other Amsterdam International School, and they are really kind of threatened right now because we are the most popular in every sense. It's an IB school, and not a huge one with just 500 children, 500 students up to the IB, and have done reasonably well. So starting from zero, first student when I took as a admission, from that day onward, now we are 5 students. And I had to take 3-4 months myself to sit in that building to build it. So yeah, this is just the example which I'm giving. In a similar way, I'm sure all the campuses are created here in the country, and also I have visited London, and they have many other, like US. I think they have two in San Francisco and in the Long Island, Singapore, and also also Dubai. Dubai. I have visited the most beautiful school in Abu Dhabi. They have their own where the yacht, all the boats can go directly from the school, and the children are learning all those. It's amazing campus, amazing. Yeah. So I think it's for me it is a privilege to be here and being associated and being part of the family in the progress observing, and I really wish that they remain in such a way and grow further. Excellent. Their thought process is amazing. Not only for the nation, but also they like to keep the values that tradition. I think is their strength, and I think we need to, all of us should really keep ourselves within that boundaries, those social boundaries with spiritual values, and also working hard, karma, every aspect in a human life, I think being practiced, being shown to all of us. And yeah, I'm away from the country for 43, 44 years, but I my heart is still for Bharat. I keep on coming. In doing so, we created this Indian Academy of Biomedical Sciences. The head office is at King George, KGMU, Lucknow, and from there we started this IVS, and it's just a platform because we like to create friends. We like to create the environment where scientists and clinicians can come together. And that's the motive behind IBS. And for that, we do every year one international event where 500 or sometimes maybe up to 800, because we had in Delhi 800 people, where Dr. Harshvardhan opened the session. So likewise, I would like to say that yeah, we continue collaborating, we continue inspiring each other, and also convey the values to the young ones, because they have to wear the torch in the future. So with this, a few words of my congratulations, gratitude, um, and also so much appreciation, particularly how the things have developed. I have been coming, I think, just after the campus started, the major auditorium where we had from that time onward. And whenever I have a opportunity, I like to stop here. So thank you so very much to all of you.
Just give a big clap to
Yeah,
Professor
thank you so
Sharma.
very much. Yeah, thank you so very much. Yes, thank you so very much.
See, we want to place on record our gratitudes to Professor Sharma for this pivotal role he has played in establishing our school in Amsterdam. Yesterday, when Chancellor Dr. Atul Chauhan was talking to me in the evening, he particularly mentioned this, that it is because of him, this international, Amity International School in Amsterdam has come. It's beautiful. Whenever you are passing through, because most of the flights hop through the Amsterdam. It's a beautiful place. Please go and visit. And thank you so much for helping us in this effort of establishing a school in your place. But now we are looking forward to establishing a university there. So you should help us. Thank you. Let's give a big clap to Harish once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experiences with the Amity Education Group and your insights about Indian Academy of Biomedical Sciences. We will now formally start this symposium lectures on advances in personalized medicine and the role of AI in precision therapy. In this regard, may I again request Professor Sharma to deliver his lecture on So we'll have first lecture in the symposium by Professor Dr. Lindsay Brown from Griffith University, Brisbane, Australia. Professor Lindsay Brown is a pharmacologist with research interests in functional foods, especially for chronic diseases such as obesity, hypertension, fatty liver, inflammatory bowel disease, and osteoarthritis. His research group has assessed foods containing anthocyanins, omega-3 fatty acids, flavonoids, coffee, and dietary fiber for their effects in these inflammatory conditions to mitigate organ damage. Professor Lindsay has an impressive publication record with over 240 papers, NH index of 65, over 14,000 citations, and recognition in Elsevier's top 2% global scientist. Please put your hands together and welcome Professor Lindsay to deliver his lecture on microalgae and human health, improving nutrition.
Yesterday, he gave a wonderful interaction with biotechnology. Pooja, thank you for arranging. I'm sure your PhD scholars on functional foods and other areas, they would have enjoyed the interaction. Thank you so much for arranging this, Pooja.
Okay, Dr. Selva-Murthy, thank you very much for the invitation to be here. And thank you to everyone in the audience for coming along. And I hope that when we go through some of this topic, that you'll be as interested in it as I am. Now, as you can see on there, okay, I've been given directions to be closer to the microphone. Microalgae is a functional food for human health. Okay, what's functional food? As was mentioned before, I'm a pharmacologist by training. Before that, I was a pharmacist. So I'm interested in human health, but interested in the way food can influence that, not just as nutrition, but as a functional food. So to try and prevent or even reverse disease states, in particular chronic disease. And I've talked in the past in this country about the changes in diabetes and cardiovascular disease, in kidney disease. I want to talk today about microalgae, so that picture at the bottom, in the possibility of improving undernutrition. I'm sure many of you probably read the Times of India this morning, but in page, I forget what it was, but somewhere in the middle, there's an article on today about how many obese overweight children are in India. It's pretty frightening. Malnutrition includes obesity, but also includes undernutrition. That's what we'll emphasize today. But that impact of malnutrition is incredible. It's not simply children that are underweight or too short or stunted. It's the whole lifestyle of that person, that family, that community is affected by that. And the numbers that are put out for the cost of undernutrition in the world are something like $3.5 trillion per year. I have no idea how to actually conceive of such a number, but it's a very large number. Now, I've talked about functional foods previously in India, and you may recognize some of those. I don't understand any Hindi at all, so I have to believe that what they've written is the absolute truth. But you can see in that photo there is Dr. Hari Sharma himself in the photo. And so we've been interested, but this brings me to a really important point, that to make research relevant, we have to talk to the community, in this case, in their language. When we can do that, we can actually make things happen. And that is incredibly important for the younger people in the audience here. And I would suggest that they make the effort to go back to their hometowns, villages, whatever, and talk to the school that they came from. Talk to the newspapers in those places about what they are doing and why it's important. That is really one of the ways of improving your country, but also the world. So improving undernutrition with microalgae. This is taken from a review that we published 2 years ago now. And you can see the first author there is Sunil Panchal. Sunil was a PhD student with me from Nagpur, a very bright young man, came from a Hindi medium school and is now a senior lecturer at the University of Western Sydney. That trajectory is amazing and is a tribute to his hard work and his ability, of course. So if we go on to algae, first of all, on this side, most people know more about seaweed, so macroalgae, and growing in India. Production 1.12 million tons to 25-26 due to a central government funding agency. But many people do not know about microalgae. Microalgae are probably even have more potential probably than macroalgae. At the moment, spirulina, which is not technically a microalgae, but spirulina produces around 2,000 to 2,500 metric tons annually. Now that's an important amount, but that won't go far in treating the problem of undernutrition. So to find out which other algae are grown in India, I did the way that many students would approach the problem and used AI. And that's the only part I have used it for. And you can see down there, there's a whole range of other possible microalgae that can be grown and that should be grown in this country because of their benefits. And we'll go through some of those. So one of those is Nanochloropsis. Nanochloropsis makes the omega-3 fatty acids. So fish oil. So fish oil is not made by fish. Fish oil is stored by fish and made by the microalgae that are then eaten by the higher up until it finally gets into the fish and stored there. Microscopic, and they're single-celled organisms. You can see the picture there. Single-celled organisms. They are in mainly in water, but also in the sediment and also in some soils. Microalgae produce at least 50% of the world's oxygen, if not more. So they will use carbon dioxide to grow and for photosynthesis then and make oxygen as well. So they are a really important part of our environment. They've been on Earth for billions of years. They are probably the precursor of every plant in the world. The UN has a number of sustainable goals, and you can see the title of the paper there, Unleashing the Power of Microalgae. And under those sustainable development goals, microalgae directly contribute to most of them. You can see all around the edge there, the sheer number of those goals that microalgae can work with is amazing, both direct and indirect. So this is not simply something that is done, something that is just a university research that has no relevance to the real world. This is really important to the real world. The World Health Organization. Malnutrition includes undernutrition. Malnutrition is simply poor nutrition. So malnutrition includes both undernutrition and overnutrition. 2.5 billion adults were overweight, 390 million were underweight. That's a large number. And Southeast Asia, including India, or South Asia and Southeast Asia, are really important contributors to that. 149 million children estimated to be stunted, 45 million wasted, so too thin, and 37 million were overweight. And this is a major cause of death. So in India, the top two are the underweight, the bottom two are the overweight. So India has this fairly unique problem of having both underweight, a lot of areas are underweight, and the top there, the stunting and the thinness. The darker the color, the more the bigger the problem. And down the bottom, the overweight, the darker the color again, the bigger the problem. Now, I think you can probably point out where Delhi is on that map, and the states, so UP in particular, are really major problem areas for thinness and for stunting. Much more so than in the south of the country, but obesity is much more important in Kerala in particular and in Tamil Nadu. The one on the side, little comment on the side there about India overtakes the US. This is the original report that was in the Times of India this morning. India overtakes the US in childhood obesity, second only to China. By 2040, 20 million children will be living with it in the country. But undernutrition is not just a childhood disorder. This is undernutrition and obesity as well down the bottom two, in adults. Yes, in adults in India. And you can see again, the states in the north of the country, including the ones around here, are high in the underweight, in the adult, and also reasonably high in the overweight. So there's this broad range of malnutrition, both under and overweight, throughout this country. So what can microalgae do? What are the range of potential? Well, the range of potential is so great that it's actually hard to focus on any one thing. So there's some others there: environmental applications, energy applications, pharmaceutical applications, industry, cosmetics, and personal care, and advanced research. And space missions was already mentioned this morning. Genetic engineering and bioinformatics. But one of the key points of having so many options is that improvements in one of those can often be transferred to other areas. But that means we have to talk to the people in the other areas. We have to learn the words to talk to the biotechnologists, to talk to the anti-cancer people, to talk to the biohydrogen people, so that we can use their advantages in whichever area is the most important for us. So that communication problem or that communication exercise is critically important. So the term microalgal biorefineries is used because of the range of chemicals that they produce. So in these ones, we need sunlight, we need water, we need some nutrients or carbon source, and then the microalgae can produce the high value added products. And so the different pigments, the beta carotenes, the polyunsaturated fatty acids, so the omega-3. But those high value products may only be a few % of the total biomass there. So if we are producing large amounts of biomass and only using 2 or 3% of that, we are going to end up with a massive waste problem. So the idea then is to make sure that we are using 100% of that biomass, either as in say there, carbohydrates to produce bioethanol and biogas. So bioethanol as a I was talking with some of your people yesterday afternoon about it. Lipids for biodiesel, proteins for agriculture. So trying to make sure that we really do end up with nothing from the biomass that is produced, except good effects. So of those ones, protein, dietary protein. I'll go through in the next slide about some of the numbers for this. But just the possibility of using it, this is not going to be just a small amount. These are large amounts of material to make up the deficit in the world's supply of protein, of omega-3, of dietary fibers, so prebiotics to change the gut microbiome, and vitamins in particular, so micronutrients as a general concept. Now, in this one, it's going to be really hard to read it. I'm more used to a much bigger screen. But if we look at the numbers there with the omega-3, the recommended intake for the world is 250 milligrams per person per day. 100 million people, 100 countries, on 2/3 of the world's population are less than 100 milligrams per kilogram per person per day. To bring that number up to a normal dosage would require something around 300,000 tons per year. So this is not simply, add a few drops to it and we'll solve the problem. This is an enormous amount that is needed. And we've calculated there how much of the open raceways would be needed. It's not possible to produce that amount. But this is where we need the impact, the contact and the influence of the people in bioengineering, the people in engineering, the people in other areas that are using the algae to come up with ideas so that we can all do more with what we have. That also applies to dietary fiber. The amount of dietary fiber that is needed to give a minimum amount is something like 200 million tons, 250 million tons per year. Enormous amounts. So the market is, or the requirement is there. Can we do it? Possibly. Protein, again, something like 70 million tons of protein per year. We cannot simply grow more chickens, grow more pigs, grow more whatever, because as with this campus, a non-vegetarian campus, then that doesn't solve the problem for that part of the population, does it? Also, growing more chickens and all the rest produces more methane and produces more carbon dioxide, and so we've got more problems. So how can we produce microalgae? Well, the top one there you can see is open raceways. This is in New Mexico in the US, where space is not a problem. And so open raceways there, the classic way, they've been used for the last 50 or 60 years. And yes, you can grow it that way. I'll come to some of the problems in a minute. But some of the alternatives to try and cut down on the space that is needed. For example, the photobioreactors in the other top corner there, some columns which can then be aerated, and some machines that look like they come from a science fiction movie, because they probably did. And those machines are relatively small scale, so great for research and impossible to commercialize. So the ponds, those raceways, are open loop systems. Advantages, you can read those as well. Low capital and operating costs, simpler to operate. But how do you actually decide to pick one up and take it to a new location? The standard ones are 250 meters long and 16 meters wide, and they're made of concrete. So it's not possible to move them. Once they're there forever. They're also easily contaminated by birds flying over, by animals doing things in there that nature has persuaded them to do. And this then means it's a real problem in getting a pure product out there for human consumption. The amount of algae in there is something less than 0.1%, so less than 1 in 1,000. That also means that to separate it from the water, you have to remove 999 kilograms of water, liters of water, to get 1 kilogram of the biomass. That takes a lot of energy to do that. And so that's an issue. Maintaining temperature in a situation like that is rather difficult. Maintaining pH is also difficult. But it's that combination. Yes, you can produce a lot of it, but it's low density and it's difficult to get it out. The closed loop systems, the photobioreactors. So in there, you can get higher concentrations in there, 10 times, maybe even 30 times higher concentrations in there, but you've still got dewatering problems. You don't have the contamination issues to such an extent, but trying to clean those bioreactors if you want to change to a new microalgae is a real issue. It's a lower footprint and it can be land-based, so it can be an absolutely land-based aquaculture. You don't need the vast area of the others, but you need a lot of money to start it. What we are doing is, in my spare time after retiring or semi-retiring, setting up a algae farm, a microalgae farm in northern New South Wales, a little town in, if you may be able to see, Burring Bar in the middle of that map there. So for those of you who know the map of Australia, it's about halfway between the Gold Coast and Byron Bay. And that's about 3 hours or so drive from where I live. So we received confirmation yesterday that the Commonwealth Bank of Australia will fund us to actually take that over. The Commonwealth Bank must have learnt their bureaucracy from other places, because it took them about 3 months to make what should have been a simple decision. But we're doing it on what is now a herb farm, and that's that other photo there with the hills behind, where there are 3 greenhouses. There's a lot of areas for germination, so it's a herb farm to start with. And somewhere in the trees in there, there is actually a house as well. So it's a pleasant place to live when we finally do that. Where's the expert, the computer expert? How do I get rid of that? Or what is it? Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, this is the inside of it. It's now used as a herb farm, but we're going to use those same trays as a to grow the algae. So it's not an open door one. Open one. There's a roof above it, so water can be controlled, temperature can be controlled, everything can be controlled, and we will be starting on that activity next week now that the money has finally arrived. What are we going to do with it? Well, how do we get that amount into the diet? Well, there's a whole range of possibilities, and one of those here, microalgae in cereal products. So in bread, for example, yes, it will go a greenish color. At low concentrations, it looks gray rather than green. And some people say, oh, but I want white bread. Well, they're not going to get it with algae. But even 1 or 2% of microalgae in the bread will use a lot of microalgae and will therefore introduce a lot into the diet. And the evidence so far is that it doesn't change the taste at all. Or into pasta as well, as was on that photo. So green pasta. The kids apparently love it. But there are a number of areas in the world where foods, including microalgae, are part of the traditional diet. So traditional South American foods, with those, can they be used with other microalgae? Of course they can. It just requires some people trying it. And if you go on the internet and type in Indian foods with spirulina, then you will get a large number of them. And I haven't tried any of these. My cooking skills are minimal. And also, but yeah, the people that have put them up there say that they taste wonderful. So things like a smoothie there, things like the salads down below, by using the microalgae in those. So it's not just telling people, hey, here's a kilogram bag, take a spoonful every day. This is actually saying, well, how can we introduce it into the diet and therefore make it acceptable for people to use it on a regular basis? We have a chef that works with us, and he has produced a number of microalgal recipes. The one I particularly like is in the bottom corner is the pizza. So pizza base with microalgae in it. Yes, you can see it's there, and it's not unable to taste it with all the other things that are in the pastry. The middle one is a salmon base. There's a pumpkin scone there. There's chicken. There's gnocchi. There's dumplings. So the limit of this is our imagination. The limit is not in the microalgae, it's not in that, but the limit is our imagination in getting these products together and therefore using them as part of a normal diet. That is about all I want to say at the moment. I will be around all day. I would very much appreciate conversations with people. I had a lovely conversation yesterday afternoon with some of the staff here, but I really appreciate conversations on microalgae. But I think this is one of the really great possibilities to overcome undernutrition without spending vast amounts of money. But it will work. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Lindsay. We will have the discussions later. So we want to listen to all the presentation. Please note down all your questions, doubts, suggestions, and also what you want to do with this area, because we have experts working in microalgae, both in the biorefinery as well as in the nutrition and the biotechnology, as well as we have in the food science and technology, Amity Institute of Food Technology. So we will discuss it at the end. Now we would request the comparator to take up the next presentation.
Thank you, Professor Brown, for a very insightful deliberation highlighting the nutrition scenario in India and how microalgae act as biorefinery of different proteins, omega fatty acids, dietary fibers, etc., required to improve nutrition and eventually human health. So moving on, we have next lecture by Professor Dr. Peter J. Vanderspeck. Before I invite him, I'll read a brief bio sketch about him. Professor Peter Speck holds a PhD degree in molecular genetics from Erasmus University, Rotterdam. He is currently working as a principal investigator and section head of clinical bioinformatics at the Erasmus Medical Center, University Medical Center. He has more than 25 years of experience in genetics, molecular biology, pharmacology, diagnostic patient stratification for targeted treatment, risk assessment, as well as advanced in vitro functional genomic models to study health and diseases in general. His expertise in multi-omics data aggregation and data mining is used in assessment of underlying molecular pathways linked to health and disease and for therapy-related outcome assessment. Professor Speck is associated with a variety of patient organizations and has an impressive track record in introducing innovative technology in healthcare and industry. He was awarded the Excellence in Science Award at Johnson & Johnson for diligence and commitment to pursuit of superior health and healthcare products. He holds various visiting professorships internationally and contributed to the scientific community with more than 250 scientific papers in peer-reviewed journals with an impressive H-index of 74. Please put your hands together to welcome Professor Speck to deliver his lecture.
Very good.
May-
All right. Good morning.
May I just take 30 seconds to convey that Peter is extremely popular professor in Netherlands, but not only because he has worked in a multidisciplinary areas. Also, we know each other and has been to India, had been in our few delegations, but also he likes to travel to a very, so he has special photos, will show the bullock cart or maybe a very camel ride and all that. But when we came last time, we visited also Taj Mahal, and that photograph became very unique. Actually, I'm showing that one to all my lectures because he's my strong collaborator since 1993. So, one of my best friends in the country in Netherlands, and who has been always very supportive. And on my request, is able to travel to India whenever he has a possibility. And I'm really very delighted to have you in this platform, but also we'll be traveling a little bit more for other conferences. Peter, welcome to my motherland. Enjoy the trip. Thank you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you, first of all, for the invitation. And dear Harry, it's all your fault, indeed. Our collaboration lasts for very long and has delivered very fruitful science, and the passion of science shared by both of us. In my talk, I'm going to show you some examples of what I'm doing in the Erasmus Medical Center. And I'm sure that there is people here with different backgrounds, not only in medicine, but also in business, in economics, etc. And I'm very fascinated and thrilled to see what this university is doing here. We're also setting up a AI facility and a data center working actually as showcase for NVIDIA, which I saw on the slides. So I'm seeing a lot of synergy, which is very exciting for us to expand and work more together in the near future. So both of my sons that you see in this first slide, they were very jealous that I'm actually going here. Actually, this photo is made about 10 years ago. They are now 22 and 20. And actually, when I was here 20 years ago with Hari, together with a thorax surgeon, we visited also Taj Mahal. And at the end of the day, I'm going back to Agra. So I can't wait for it. Okay, let's see. So our mission is to bring complex, innovative omics technologies into the clinic. And why do we do that? Because our vision is that medicine is changing very rapidly. It all gets now very personalized in terms of the treatments. My group with the bioinformatics, I'm a geneticist, trained as a geneticist, but having also an engineer degree. I'm living in the department of pathology where all the tissues from the different clinicians come together, and we need to come to a proper diagnosis in order to start treating as optimal. And therefore, we use molecular diagnostics to bin the patients into groups. Now, what you see in the picture in the middle is a sort of clock with all kinds of individuals standing on the wheels of the clock. And what's actually very important is the multidisciplinary way that you have to work together nowadays. So we train our people. You need to share your information. The geneticist learns to hear what the oncologist wants to get back. The molecular pathologist is basically preparing with his technicians. So all these different profiles are being trained in our medical center, and our hospital is actually quite substantial for the Netherlands. It's one of the biggest. We have about 17,000 employees in one hospital. So that's big. Only 800 beds, but 17,000 employees. So I have also helped setting up the Erasmus Center for Data Analytics, because I realized that sharing the information and IT infrastructure with economics, with health sciences, with business, with law, where in law you're also looking at DNA for forensic applications. So there's always overlap between the disciplines, and this is where I'm sharing the infrastructure and building this to the latest shape and needs for the technology. What you see happening here is a rough expansion of the data in general. We extract the information from the data, and every day the gap between what we understand and what we can measure is growing. And therefore, there's a big need that that gap gets transferred to the cloud and that you can query it as efficient as possible with these new AI technologies. And that's why we are also building an AI gigafactory in the harbor of Rotterdam, where is enough power, wind power with windmills. Within an old energy factory, there's actually now built a data center inside, because there's restrictions on building new buildings. But if you renovate an old coal mine factory, which is already having the fibers because it was burning coals to produce energy, so the energy fibers are already there, and it's in the middle of the harbor where you can actually cool also the IT infrastructure very efficient. So basically, this is my work week. On Monday, I support the complex cancer cases. On Tuesday, it's cardio, neuro, I do on Wednesday, immune transplantation on Thursday, and on Friday, I run the complex pediatric cases. Well, in clear clinical practice, of course, they're all mixed. You cannot schedule when there is a complex case, but from those areas, we understand that the clinicians don't drink coffee at the same machine. So they don't learn each other the smart techniques and the smart ways of working and reusing the data of what they have measured. Now we integrate in a central big data repository, which we have made available also for running the AI queries on it. So it's a very smart centralized repository, which is fully using the same cutoffs in all these different areas, so that statistically you can overlay these different bits of data. Now what I'm teasing my students is that you can get red skin, atopic dermatitis, basically due to mutations in 20 different genes. That's very scary. So you cannot see in an 8-minute polyclinic visit which of the 8 genes is mutated, but you need to sequence the genome in order to find which of these genes is mutated, what causes the atopic dermatitis. But what was very fascinating, if I look up those 20 different genes in 800 experiments that are available online, then actually I can see if they are present, they're red, and if they're absent in that experiment, they're blue. And if you now look at the first 11 different genes, they look exactly opposite of the next 9 patients. Okay, if I send my friend Harry to the casino, and 800 times he has to put on black or on red, and then I send his friend to the casino with the difficult task, do exactly opposite of what Harry has been doing 800 times, statistically this is impossible. So what you're actually seeing in this picture is the foundation of personalized medicine. And that's very weird, but these genes, they're highly regulated in the DNA. Now, a mutation in a gene can actually cause that the gene becomes dysfunctional, or the gene is going to work harder and better. Okay, so you can have a gain of function or a loss of function. So, as you need to have studied also pharmacy in order to treat patients, you want to know who do I have to give the agonist and who do I have to give the antagonist. So you want to use your genetics to see what you have to prescribe to the different patients. So we look at the mutations in such a way that we can actually see, is the process overactive or is the process running too slow? Now, I've spent my previous life in pharmaceutical industry in Johnson & Johnson. There we have been screening compounds. Around 2000, I was brought into pharmaceutical industry, first AkzoNobel, Organon, later J&J. And what I've been doing is exploring all the drug targets from the human genome. Been pulling them out, and then after finding those genes, we started to engineer cells for cell therapy, so these CAR-T strategies, etc. And nowadays, we integrate more and more data, and we study all this information. Here we see some proteomics data for different diseases, which biomarkers, which proteins from the plasma proteome are important. We also look at disease. So there are particular concepts. If your blood vessels are inflamed in your gut and you have Crohn or colitis, then you have leaky gut because your blood vessels are inflamed, so that triggers leaky gut. But you can also have leaky lung due to corona infection, or you can have an encephalitis and then you have leaky brain. Those concepts, that's where we can overlay the data and connect these things. Now here we see the impact of AI on diagnostics. And a lot of medical students are asking me, is it already true, real life, that you're using AI for diagnostics? And I can confirm yes. What you see here, this machine is making photos of cells. So I take a tube of blood and I photograph 100,000 cells. And I use AI to compare the photos. And basically what it's doing, it's basically like I did at lower school. I was very good in playing memory. So you have a photo and you look, where's the similar photo? So you connect those photos. So now I basically on the left, you see a tube of blood. The 100,000 cells get photographed. And if cells are lookalike, they end up in a cluster with a color. And these boxed cells, they are resembling each other. So like my cell phone is seeing a photo of my grandfather, my grandmother, my son, my other son, it's binning them. And now it's binning the photos of these 100,000 cells. So in the bottom left, you see some sweets. So you buy some M&M sweets. Well, like the blood cells, I throw in the M&Ms in the machine and it says I have so many green, so many blue, so many red, and so on. But the shift, if I do that a month later and I compare and I give a very expensive drug treatment, I can see quantitatively is some cell populations growing or decreasing, and that's where I can monitor therapy response. So for expensive medication, I can very rapidly see, is the drug working in my patient or not? And that basically means if it's not working, I immediately take the patient off. And in particular with biologicals, which cost 150,000 euro per patient per year, you really want to see quick, is it working or not? Now what we see here in this picture, you see two bananas, one on the left, one on the right. The banana in the left has a cluster in the middle with some cells which differ from the cluster which is on the right side of the banana lighting up on the right. What we have been throwing in the machine is basically two cell lines, one of an immature and one of a mature mast cell. And those actually, the machine tells us the area and the perimeter are slightly different from the cells in the cluster in the middle compared to the cluster on the right. And these two cell lines have a different mutation in the gene KIT. And therefore, the one mutation gets stuck in the immature state and the other one is in the mature state, stuck. Now, what's important for the doctor to decide which drug do I have to give to the patient? And the imatinib is prescribed in the immature cell population. And those cells are slightly bigger, if you look careful, than the cells on the right in the bottom. And those need to be treated with Rydapt or Ivacid. Now we compare all these drugs, kinase inhibitors, and we see where they are doing something in the cell line, in the tests where we are comparing the IC50 values in order to screen for drug activity, but also which drugs have a lookalike activity compared to other drugs. And what you see on the outside of the circle is actually the drug targets. So those screenings are becoming very, very important. Now back to the machine which makes the photos. So basically I did a funny experiment. We had a refrigerator since 1989, and in that refrigerator we collected the blood of our patients who got a new heart or a new kidney. And longitudinally, we collected every half year a tube of blood and we took a biopsy of the kidney or the heart. And everything was biobanked. And now I decided to throw over the whole refrigerator with all the tubes of blood and push them through the machine. And what we actually ended up with is a very interesting cluster, which you see on the right. So we look for sepsis or rejection. That's the big question. If a patient comes back with a problem after transplantation, is there sepsis or is there rejection? And basically, it's like flipping a coin in the hospital. You have no clue whether it's a sepsis or it's a rejection. So it's very hard to diagnose that in a proper way. Now, what I'm going to show you is that if I take these tubes of blood, I get a cluster in the shape with all these colors on the right as weightlifting. So you see a weight here, and actually now you see 3 weights, and the weight on the right is no rejection, and the one on the left is T-cell mediated rejection, and the one in the middle is antibody mediated rejection. But which cells are now lighting up? They get a cluster number, so a morphotype number. And the top part of the weight on the right is actually lighting up with no rejection, but the bottom part is lighting up if there's rejection. Now, blind Freddy can see it's either the top or it's the bottom which lights up. So now I can very accurately diagnose, is there rejection, yes or no? This is very, very accurate. And actually, we actually have a percentage of 92.6% accuracy with this measurement, which is better than flipping a coin. Okay, now the question is to the pathologist, my friend, what have you been doing the last 25 years behind your microscope? The poor guy gets very nervous. Okay, I go back to the previous slide. And I'm saying, okay, my friend, you look through your microscope, and if you have T-cell mediated rejection, which you see on the left, there is morphotype number 6. And if you look very careful, these photos I put there next to these cluster, they show Mickey Mouse cells. So you see cells with tiny black dots on it. And what's happening there? These cells, they want to start dividing. But there's DNA damage. So you cannot copy the DNA, so the cell cannot divide. So it starts the division, it aborts it, and you have formed your ear number 1. The cell tries it again. It doesn't work. You get ear number 2. So then I said to this pathologist, it's very easy. Even I can see it. You're trained as a pathologist. I'm a stupid geneticist. So why can't you see this through your microscope? Poor guy. Okay, if he looks through the microscope, he looks at 7 or 8 cells, and then he puts a new gloss slide. Here I'm photographing 100,000 cells, and out of the 100,000 cells, 150 cells have these Mickey Mouse ears. 150 on 100,000. So the sensitivity of the measurement, and now the AI is going to contribute, and the machine learning, because the machine learning recognized the ears, because the computer, the pathologist had no clue that he had to look for ears, but this is what the computer is now telling us. Hey, look for the funny ears. There's a difference in the T-cell mediated rejection. Now, why is there DNA damage with the transplant rejection? That's because you give immune suppression to those patients who have a transplant organ, so their repair pathways are less optimal running. So this is why in the bloodstream you can just simply monitor what's happening with the quality of your transplant organ. So what's very important is that we integrate more and more the data, and we add morphology to the genetic diagnostics, the RNA profiling, the proteomics profilings, but now we are also going to look at the cells, and we use these images to query even our tissue sections from our pathologists. We collect data longitudinal, so even in the birth center, we recommend to these women who want to become pregnant what to do, and all the way from pre-womb to tomb, we collect data from all our cases that pass through our hospital. And what we actually see here is that spatial data gets now collected. So we have these tissue sections, and you can actually stain 80 different antibodies on one section, and then compare all these expressions of these markers that you see in these colored blocks and boxes. Now, 4% of our healthcare costs are spent on diagnostics. But 72% of what we are doing in our hospital is based on the 4% that you spend on the diagnosis. So if you have to invest new money, where are you going to put that? In the beginning or in the end? Well, my money would go to the diagnostics to the beginning, because then at the end you treat way more personalized and more efficient. And what we actually see here on the top left, you know what you know, that's in the literature. You know what you don't know, that's why you do the next diagnostic test. Bottom left, you don't know what you know, that's usually in your drawer under your desk if you don't digitalize. And to make it very scary, you don't know what you don't know, and I can calculate that. That's pretty interesting. So what we see in the bottom left is really from, okay, I'm not sure if you can, no, you can't see the mouse, but actually you see a picture of a heat map. And that's all the genes present in human brain, and the blue line illustrates birth. And right after fertilization till birth, week 37, roughly, right after birth, all the way up to people of 80 years old, human brain. And the biggest switch in the data is birth. So what's happening? Some genes, red, switched on before birth, switch off after birth. What is that regulation, what we see here? Who knows what's going on? I tell my students, have a look at the picture, please. Okay, baby gets born, you cut the umbilical cord, you better close it. You smack the baby. No, that's not allowed anymore nowadays. But you have to smack the baby because it starts screaming. And that's causing this crazy difference with these genes. Because your percentage of oxygen which you take in is before birth through the placenta 14%, after birth through your lungs 21%. And this percentage of oxygen decides which regions of the DNA are being opened up, and you can transcribe the genes, and which regions are being closed. So it's very important to understand how does it work and what can I do with it. So if I diagnose brain tumors and I excise a brain tumor which comes to the pathology department, I look at the genes and I can see, this gene pattern matches before birth, and that's where it's proliferation and growth. So you can really see what's happening. Now we study autoimmunity, bottom left, the healthy condition, and bottom right, cancer. Autoimmunity you treat with low dose IL-2, cancer you treat with high dose IL-2. Understanding all these immune signatures we have been doing with 11 countries, 35 hospitals throughout Europe, 15 million euro study where we monitor DNA, RNA, proteome, cytokines, everything you can think of was measured, and all that data from whole Europe got to my department and we analyzed. And we just heard early this week that our paper gets accepted now. So these immune cells, you want to profile them, and the patients that we monitor, for instance, on Thursday in the immune transplantation polyclinic, there's a whole range of 430 genes that we need to monitor for mutations, which affect all kinds of different blood cells. And that range of patients, you want to stratify them into groups in order to go for targeted treatments. And that's why these different immune pathways listed in 4 colors, you see that interacting network and what it's actually doing at the different immune disease groups that you see on the left in the heat map. Now, what's very interesting, if we sort the samples that we monitored just on age, and you can see with this B cell pathway, the youngest sample is on the left, 1 year old, 15, 30 years, 40 years, 60, 91 years old. These kids have a high activity of B cell activity. And that pathway, all these genes that you see on the right, they're actually visualized in that network that you see here. And there's a very important gene which is called AIM2. And this AIM2 is the gene is called absent in melanoma. And if that one is deleted, then basically your immune surveillance is going down. Here we see an example of 2,158 different tumors. And they're sorted on alphabetical order. So the colons are more on the left, the lungs are in a very red striped bar in the middle. And this network, which is important, focuses on AIM2 and the 25 friends that we saw in this picture. Now, what's very important, who benefits from immunotherapy and who is not responding on immunotherapy? These are the major questions that the clinicians want to address nowadays. We can monitor this because we have now identified the biomarkers in this network, and therefore we can go back to the cancers where all the components are present. They are red, so you see these red stripes. And if something is present, you can slow it down. But if it's not present, you better not give the drug to slow it down because it will not act on the target because the target is not there. Now here you see why pioneering immunotherapy is important. You see this Keytruda drug, which is binding to the PD-1 receptor. Well, the market size in the US is currently $62.2 billion, so it's a huge market. And the growth is actually in green indicated in Asia, Southeast Asia and Australia. So this is why it's important. Who do I have to give the drug and with who is it going to work in order to spend the money in healthcare as efficient as possible? Now, here we see that all these immune pathways need to be monitored. We have some examples here. You see all the diseases in balls. And if we zoom in, the blue balls, they are all cancer. And actually behind the blue balls, there were some pink balls. These pink balls were referring to some genes, and these genes are sort of switches on the cell surface which activate a particular biological process. And what's interesting, what we noticed is that the pink balls from the craniofacial diseases, they resemble cancer. So are these craniofacial diseases a model to study cancer? That's what we wanted to know. So we sequenced some of those patients, and they have very severe facial malformations, and we found clear causal mutations. And one of these causal mutations is actually staining. So we brought the antibody against the target, where's the mutation, and you see the limbs, so in green lighting up of the mouse on the right. And you see the sagittalis, that's on the top part of the skull, a suture. And that's very interesting because in that suture there are stem cells present and there are neural crest stem cells. But what's triggering? So you see there is something happening with a congenital malformation which resembles cancer. And then you see both limbs lighting up. Now what's happening if you have a lump here which is going to form an arm or a hand? Okay, what needs to happen? You need cell death to separate the fingers and the toes. And that's why these ridges are telling us, haha, there is something not working with apoptosis, regulation of cell death, because from that area, the cell death regulation is starting. And from this picture, we learned what's actually happening in our patient. And then if we go to the patient is not smoking a cigar, he's intubated, so he gets some oxygen. And on the skull is looking more like a bird than an Ernie. So you have Sesame Street. If you get problems with closing of the sutures, either your skull is too long or it's getting too wide. And the suture which was having the problem was the sagittalis on the top. And that's why the skull is slightly too tall. And we found a mutation in MSX2. And that was actually also lighting up in the sagittalis of the developing mouse, which you see on the left. So if I start the mouse again, then you see the mouse rotating, and on the top of the skull, you see exactly the sagittalis lighting up. So that's the proof that we found the right gene, which had the damaging pathogenic mutation. Now, what we see in the top part is the neural crest stem cell, and from a neural crest stem cell, during development, you can get a neuron, a glia, a melanocyte in the skin, but also a jawbone, and you can get teeth develop out of these neural crest stem cells. Now here we go back to the genetics. So you had loss of function and gain of function. And if you have mutations in the immune gene, so Thursday was immune and transplantation, STAT3 mutations, Those patients have dental abnormalities, eosinophilia, recurrent bacterial infections. They get musculoskeletal abnormalities and coronary vascular malformations. Now, this is very fascinating because those recurrent bacterial infections, if your immune system, if Pac-Man is not cleaning the bugs, there is a loss of function. But what's happening if Pac-Man is overactive? Well, that's what you see on the left with the gain of function. There he's attacking you. So now you see all the autoimmune diseases in the top part lighting up. So if the immune system is too active, it attacks your own body. And if it's not effective enough, then it's the bugs in your gut which are eating you. So it's a very accurate balance which is monitored by the genetics. And that's what you can see with kids who have a problem after vaccinations. They get problems with their teeth. So what we are going to conclude here, the value is in the data. And what we see in this picture is actually very fascinating. Who got, during the corona time, a mRNA vaccination here in this audience? I'm seeing a few people who got a mRNA vaccine. Now, look at the left. There you see lung cancer patients who got an mRNA vaccination and lung cancer patients who got no vaccine. And actually, it turns out that if you got a mRNA vaccine, your treatment for your lung cancer was working way more efficient. So this is on 500,000 people which have been investigated now. And those people, so if you get nowadays a lung cancer, what are you going to do? You first are going to get a mRNA vaccine for corona because that pokes up your immune system. And then you start your cancer treatment, and I can guarantee you, you live longer. And that's what you see on the right for the people who had a melanoma. If they had a mRNA vaccine in combination with the melanoma treatment, the blue line indicates clearly better survival because you poke up the immune system with the mRNA vaccine and then you give the cancer treatment. So this is very interesting information on large numbers of, so nobody had a clue, are these vaccines safe? Are they helpful? But now we learn from the data by looking retrospective, and we actually can see some very interesting information. So data is telling you a lot. And that's why it's important that your university focuses on AI and on data. So that needs to be embedded in teaching. It needs to be arranged with your insurances, with your reimbursement, and your Ministry of Healthcare needs to think about legislation and regulation. Combining molecular with image and with data gives the new opportunities for disease management. And with this, I would like to close off my talk. Thank you.
Mr. Peter, it was a fantastic lecture. You have done a lot of research, collected wealth of information on how do we use AI and also the deep cell. That is something very, very important, deep cell technology which you have used. We would like to learn more about it and we'll discuss that. Now, can you move on to the next?
So many thanks, Professor
And
Speck.
also, let's give a big clap to Dr. Goodwill Coker, who has organized this, the whole event. Thank you, Goodwill. Yeah, go ahead.
So many thanks, Professor Speck, for a very interesting and insightful presentation on the role of AI in diagnosis. So we now move on. We have short presentations from our Amity Institute of Biotechnology faculty members on AI in precision medicine. In this regard, our first speaker is Dr. Abhishek Sen Gupta. He's a leading researcher in systems, biology, and AI for personalized and systems medicine, spearheading projects that integrate multi-omics data, network modeling, and machine learning to decode complex disease mechanisms. He actively collaborates with global partners to develop predictive frameworks and precision therapeutics, advancing data-driven, patient-specific healthcare solutions through interdisciplinary innovation. Please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Abhishek Sen Gupta, sir.
So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to all the guests that have to Amity University, and welcome to Amity University. So it was an amazing lecture by Professor Lindsay and Professor Peter, and I really enjoyed the deliberation, the way they have presented, and the work they are doing on precision medicine in one in microalgae and another in multiomics data analytics and using AI and ML. So in my lab, basically the topic of this conference is advances in personalized medicine and the role of AI in precision theory somehow aligns to exactly what I have been doing at Amity University for the last 17 years at Amity University. So it is totally aligned with the topic. And uh, before I start with my slides, I would like to quote one line by Linus Pauling, that life is a relationship among molecules and not a property of any molecule. So what Peter has said is exactly what is being done with big data and multi-omics and multi-omics data integration with clinical data as well. So my lab, whose name is Data Systems Biology and Data Analytics Research Lab, is at AIB, and my lab is dedicated to work on advanced predictive, personalized, and systems-driven medicine by integrating different data, like no big data, from pathways to genes to no clinical data, etc. So you can see.
Yeah, please go ahead. I think we are going to receive our Chancellor, Dr. Chauhan, in a few minutes, maybe in a couple of minutes. So he is coming especially to meet the delegation. So thank you so much. Please continue.
Okay. So you can see.
Chancellor comes, I would request all of you to raise and then clap him, the normal reception for him.
So you can see at the middle of the slide how my lab SVDA integrative approaches, like how my lab integrates all multiomics integration, graph theory, network biology and AI, the explainable AI, biological networks, NGS pipeline standardization, genome scale metabolic modeling, and also molecular docking and simulation studies that we have done in our lab, and we still are doing in from research area to different research areas. So my lab is mostly divided into four areas of public health, that is mental health, reproductive health, vitiligo pathogenesis and therapeutics, and also microbiome and infectious diseases. So these are the four verticals where my lab is focused on, but not limited to that. So we are open to collaborations with other areas as well, but these are the areas where we have worked already. So you can see
Let's welcome our Chancellor, Dr. Chauhanji. Please come. Let's give a big clap to our Chancellor.
Hello, sir. Sorry, I disturbed your. No.
Dr. Linda. Chancellor.
I had come sit. Please take a seat. Please, you know, it is. I'm just dropping by for 1 minute because of Dr. Sharma. You've already told the relationship that we as a family have with Dr. Sharma. 40 years now. Yes, a very close friend of our founder, Dr. Ashok Chauhanji, from Germany, and Dr. Sharma was in the Netherlands, a great, great scientist, and so close to the family that, and you also spoke about our school, the Amity International School in Amsterdam, the connections that Dr. Sharma had with the Indian embassy, the respect that he got, from the mayors of Amsterdam, the mayors of Amstelveen, all the government officials were extraordinary. And we have a lot of young students of science. One of the great lessons, right? You will all become great scientists, great professionals in whatever you do. But what differentiates great leaders is that they are able to make connections with people. So always remember that. You know what Dr. Chauhan tells you, what we all tell you all the time, behavioral science. Success in life is a lot to do with how you treat other people, how you respect the people, how to become friends with other people. And that is Dr. Hari Sharma in encapsulation, a great human being. We are so proud of you. And you messaged a month back or so that you are visiting India with some great scientists, Professor Lindsay, Professor Peter, Dr. Linda. Yes, we are so honored and glad to have you on campus. And this topic of, I am told, AI in precision medicine. It is, for all of you in the field, the future is precision medicine. You know, and I'm sure and I know we have a lot of scientists at Amity who are working in this area. But Dr. Salmoti, let us do much more. Yes, that let us make a focus group which focus in this area, and we can surely work together with all these scientists who have come today. Dr. Sharma, yes, I just came to say hello to you. Please, Abhishek, yes, continue with your presentation. We can have one photograph. Yes, yes. Come, let's have, he will go down here. Did everyone come? Thank you. Can I have one photo with all our brilliant students? You just stand up. I have to I will listen to your presentation.
Yeah, let's resume the presentation. अच्छा 2 to 5 था okay okay ठीक है right after this
And so I'll again start. So I'll start my presentation with a very famous quote by Linus Pauling that life is a relationship among molecules and not a yeah, I'll quickly. Not a property of any molecule. So it's all interactions. It's all data that we are at the era today. So we have like huge bytes of data, terabytes, gigabytes of data with us, and we need computational power like we have in our artificial intelligence department and various bioinformatics labs. We have computational power to handle such data. So my lab, you can see in the middle, my lab is works on these areas, and the areas of biological areas where, or you can say the health areas where my lab is focused on are mental health, reproductive health, vitiligo, pathogenesis therapeutics, microbiome, and infectious diseases. So you can see at the bottom on the right side, these are some tools that has been created or developed at my lab from the big data, big clinical data, and integrated with genomics and different omics data. So these are few of the tools. There are other tools that are also running from at my lab, which are ready for translation, and one has been already translated and is in the market. So this is a very interesting project and one of its kind in throughout India, and first of its kind in India, and that is the modeling, the AI-based modeling of the success rate of IVF for the from the perspective of socio-economic aspect. Like for the poor people, it is really tough to go for various cycles of IVF and then come up with failures after spending so much money. So our problem is to come up with a predictive model that determines the success rate of IVF failure, or you can say the IVF, right? Or art, right? So we have created this novel algorithm that is Bayesian optimized voting ensemble, which I shortly termed as BOVE, and it has an 87% of accuracy, which has been benchmarked with the other existing algorithms for IVF success rate from the previous literatures, and it will already it has already been patented from my lab, and it is open for commercialization with any of the IVF clinics throughout India. But for now, it is with us and with Gangaram Hospital because they have provided me 3,000 patients inpatients data. So the next is this. I'll skip. This is a work in collaboration with Dr. V. Pooja on vulvovaginal candidiasis. We are still working on fungus, because fungus is a very tricky organism and it's a very complicated organism, and resistance is a very big problem in fungal disorders. And with my lab, with Dr. V. Pooja, we are trying to create AI-based solutions to predict the resistance in our multi-resistance strains in mucormycosis presently at my lab. This is the previous work on vulvovaginal candidiasis. It is published. So next is it's a very big collaboration with Helmholtz and Munich, and also NIMHANS and Diabetes Research Center, Madras Diabetes Research Center, which is headed by Dr. V. Mohan, who is very close to Dr. Selvamurthy, and he has really wished me in one of the meetings to give my wishes to you, Dr. V. Mohan. So this is a project that has been done. This model has been created on the data that was collected at Indian Madras Diabetic Research Center, which is the biggest diabetic research center. And we have created metabolomic panels of metabolites from a huge data sets, from patient data sets. And it is published in BMC Cardiovascular Diabetology, which is a renowned journal in this field. And next area which I have worked on and published also is on microbiome, which Dr. Peter has also worked on gut microbiome. But my area is on the reproductive microbiome and how it determines the precision predictions of various disorders, like not disorders, the diseases, the problems, pregnancy problems like preterm birth, preeclampsia, PROM, so all the RIF. So all these things are predicted from the microbiome data of the women vaginal data, right? So we have created a pipeline, very useful pipeline on metagenomics using AIML in our lab, and anybody is welcome to use that pipeline if you have metagenomics data with you.
Abhishek, can you sum up?
Yeah. Just so we have entered into mental health. So mental health. So this is fertility predictor. Sir, I'll take 2 minutes for fertility predictor. So this is a project with ICMR NIRRCH, the leading reproductive health institute in India, and they have created an PCR kit which determines which actually determines the Y chromosome microdeletions And our lab has created the machine learning prediction tool on the basis of that data, and it is patented by Amity, and now it is in the market and has been translated. So this is a product. You can see the clinicians are using it. So it's precision based. Y chromosome microdeletion doesn't happen in every man. It happens in very few men, which is a very big reason for infertility. So last one, it is close to my heart because I am a vitiligan. So I work on vitiligo database. So it's a very personal cause, and my family is has a history of vitiligo. So for that I work closely on vitiligo research, and I have created a comprehensive digital blueprint and database on vitiligo, and we are coming up with version 3 of VDB database integrating AI ML. So this is my lab and my collaborators. Helmholtz, Munich, University of Birmingham, JNU, and all big hospitals in India. We have our lab has collaborators who provide us with clinical data along with the omics data, and we do modeling and big data analytics. Thank you so much.
Very good. Let's give a big clap to our Abhishek Pillian. You are doing a great job in this area and keep it up. Let's move on to next presentation. Yogesh.
Thank you, Dr. Abhishek, for an insightful presentation. We also strongly encourage all our students to have research aptitude, strong research aptitude, and may approach Amity faculty members as per their interests, particularly after today's lectures. So moving on, our next speaker is Professor Dr. Hridesh Prakash. He's a Deputy Director at Amity Center for Translational Research, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. His research focuses on immunology, immunotherapy of tuberculosis, tumor, autoimmune and chronic inflammatory disorders. He has received several awards such as Indo-German Science and Technology Center Singh Grant, Fellow of Royal Society of Biology, London, Ramanujan Fellowship, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and holds memberships of various professional societies such as member of International Association for the Study of Lung Cancer, member of the Federation of Asian Biotech Associations. He has 2 granted patents and 1 filed. He has 4,800 citations with a H index of 31. There are 3 technologies developed by his group, which include non-invasive intratracheal RNAi application, adoptive immunotherapy, and cell-based therapy. With this by sketch, I invite Dr. Prakash to deliver his lecture. Please put your hands together.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for this quick introduction. Since the time is running short, so I'll be very fast through my presentation. I'll only show the key methods that we follow in our center. And yeah, so let's start. So it's not the one. Yeah, just stumble up now. It's not there. Yeah, I think this is the one. Yes, sure. Okay, put it on. Yeah. So I can start now, right? Okay, so welcome to this important mini symposium of AI and precision medicine, and I'm Hridesh Prakash. I'm heading the Committee Center for Translational Research, and this institute was established quite recently, just 3 years back. And the mandate of the research is to develop an interventional immunotherapy program, and we are working on a couple of verticals. One is tuberculosis, second is autoimmune disorders, where we are actually developing the MSC and macrophage-based immune conditioning approaches for the AML patient who are receiving the LOHSCT for their management, and they often develop the acute GVHD because of multiple factors. So we have recently published a couple of strategies and interventional how we can temper that and contribute the health to the patients. With regard to the cancer, we are working on improving sensitivity of refractory cases of cancer ranging from PDAC and the CLC, CRC, OSCC, And we are also, developing the CD47 CAR macrophages based immune therapeutic approaches. And to train the students, because we are center, and our work should basically be benefited to the student and should be available to the student. For that reason, we are running two academic programs. One is PhD in translational immunology, again first in country, and PhD in the MSc in immunopharmacology. We are starting from the August 2026. Again, this is in the first time in country to get together the best use of immunology and pharmacology, which are the two major pillar of the life science and health disorders. So now we are basically leveraging on tailoring immunogenic approaches for the cancer. So on the one hand, you see that we are following the immune pharmaceutical approaches. On the other hand, we are relying on the CAR macrophages based adjuvant approach for the solid tumor, because for the solid tumor, the T cells are helpless. I think you will all agree. The T cells hang around in and around the stroma. They are not able to go into the tumor microenvironment and take care of the tumor cell, which are resistant, which become resistant for the T cell attack. So in this context, we are developing, again here, we are the first one in country. We are customizing CD47 null and MUC1 and C18 positive PDX specific CAR macrophages for the PDAC treatment. Now, coming back to the cancer management, now we have seen that there are several options available, like surgery, radio, chemo, immuno, or viral, what and all. So basically, for the effective treatment of the cancer, we have seen that many patients, I'm not talking about the surgery, because surgery is not always an option, because the cancer patients which are displayed, which are presented at stage 2 and 3, they are not resectable. So they are mostly invasive. So for those, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and virotherapy becomes the option. And sad to say that most of the cancer patients, especially solid tumor cancer patients, they have resistance for the chemo and radio and so on and on. So the immunotherapy has come up as a strong mandate, by just changing the whole TME immunologically, and that makes sense to pursue, because your immune system is both cause and remedy of the disease. And I think people in the audience can understand that without your immune system, you cannot have tumor. You cannot treat the tumor. So immune plasticity is very important. And most of the time, the cancer patient, when they are presented in the clinic, they carry the sterile phenotype, which is characterized by M2 rich and Th2 bias environment, and it is associated with a poor prognosis. So now our approach is to slowly turn this towards the immunogenic approach by using targeted intervention approaches to make this, US pizza based back to the Italian pizza, by using certain conjectional approaches ranging from immunotherapy approach, OX40, CD40, TNF base, and what and all have been used in the clinics. So our book has suggested us that INOS and ENOS rheostate in the tumor patient, particularly solid tumor patient, can be used as a very strong prognostic marker for deciding the response of the patient. So now for this, we are relying on targeting the tumor associated macrophages that we are working on for last 15 years, starting from the DKFZ in Germany, and then EMBL and Max Planck in Germany. So what we have realized that if you can target the tumor associated macrophages, you can control the many other aspects which are associated with the chemo, radio, immunoresistance pattern. And this is mostly highlighted here, like UPR, unfolded protein responses, endothelium energy, and T cell exhaustion. So, the tumor-associated macrophages, when they infiltrate in the tumors, in an organ like pancreas, gallbladder, cancer, esophagus, or colon, they dictate the UPR, endothelium energy, and T cell exhaustion phenotype. And now, since we are able to target the TEM very effectively, both by chemical means or by monoclonal antibody, so they have become very important area and most important target, penalty weight target for cancer-directed immunotherapy. So there nowadays, cancer, based on the TEM index of the patient, can largely dictate the propensity of the tumor patient to respond to any cancer-directed intervention, be it chemo, radio, or immuno in combination, right? So since CAR T cells are quite ineffective in managing the tumor, so we have demonstrated in past amply that low dose radiation, combining the low dose radiation with the TAMP based immune conditioning approaches, are pretty decisive and effective for managing the outcome of the gastric tumor. And this is a viable intervention, And I think, what we were able to demonstrate that if you can change this US pen based pizza to the Italian pizza, you can control the you can control the tumor burden effectively in the patient, with the help of the cancer directed intervention. In our case, it has been low dose radiation and chem based approaches. So now, after that, we have invested a lot in this area, and we are able now, as of today, we are standing on a couple of strategies which are enabling us to manage the cancer patient more effectively, and that is low dose radiation, MEP kinase based intervention. MEP kinase based intervention, use of non-coding RNA based inhibitors, and small molecule, which all together can skew the immunogenic responses in the tumor and can help the tumor patient for their recovery or better response, right? So now the major problem in the most of the solid tumor is the barrier. If you can manage the barrier effectively by using immunogenic approach, be it CPG, CP3, CPG Iceland, TOX40, TNF, or CD40 ligand, you can control the you can enhance the permeability of the tumor endothelium, because for the solid tumor, managing tumor stroma is a major problem. So in case of the PDAC, colorectal cancer and lung cancer, so they are very aggressive because of the hyperactivation of the desmoplasia, and this desmoplasia is largely controlled by the immunogenic cells like in M1 macrophages, CD8 positive T cell, where the M1 macrophages largely dictate the T cell entry and their activation and then tumor control. So this is our basis on which our center is working on. So because of the lack of time, I will just skip the data. But what I can say that the low dose radiation offer a very strong cancer directed intervention for managing cancer patients, because the low dose radiation break the endothelium energy, trigger the activation, trigger the expression of various receptors which are immunogenic and linked to the immunogenic activation of the macrophages and their subsequent infiltration across the tumor stroma. So based on that, and we have also shown that low dose radiation, particularly 2-gray, is able to activate the tumor associated macrophages pretty effectively, both phenotypically as well as functionally. So taking the leverages on this, we have when we combine the tumor endothelium, the SVR positive tumor endothelium, which are eventually VGFR2 positive, with the low dose irradiated macrophages, what we see that they lose energy. Their eNOS pathway is completely compensated. So what we see that eNOS, there are three NOS pathway, NOS enzyme, which is controlling to the tumor migration, tumor growth, and they are nNOS, cNOS, and iNOS. So iNOS doesn't like eNOS and vice versa. So in the most of the tumor setting, tumor patient which comes to the clinic, they have a very high eNOS signaling, and this is a major problem. This creates the barrier, functional barrier to the large variety of the cancer-directed intervention. So in our case, what we have demonstrated that if you tweak the iNOS signaling, then simply turn down iNOS positive macrophages by virtue of their inflammatory programming and signature, they are able to dampen the eNOS pathway like HSP60, HSP90, and cavalin 1 and HSP. These are the major area. So eNOS has their own neighbor, iNOS has their own neighbor. So it is their what you call interaction between these two components and their family member, which largely dictate whether endothelium will become permissive or will remain impermissive. So we were able to demonstrate that iNOS predominate eNOS and permeabilize the tumor endothelium for the migration. So using this concept, we have demonstrated in past that if you irradiate the insulinoma mice with a local irradiation with a 2-gray, and so they support the T cell added immunity. This was shown by here. So what you see that low dose radiation triggered the spontaneous infiltration of host T cell, but also GB100 positive T cells which were injected adaptively in the tumor bearing mice. And this was very nicely supported by normalization of the solid tumor of insulinoma and changes by the vasculature parameter, like changes in the CD31 positive vessel area and non-hemorrhagic. Yes. So with this, I think what I would like to say is that I just want to conclude one thing, that we have launched the clinical trial, and there also we have shown the efficacy of low dose radiation. And this was a phase 1 clinical trial we launched in Germany with a PDAC patient, and they also show a very nice normalization of the tumor microenvironment post low dose radiation. Just two great were working and nothing else. So we saw the similar picture with the CRC patient, where we saw a domination of Th1 effector, the drop in the CCL18 positive macrophages, accompanied with the CXCL9 positive area in the tumor muscle tumor stroma, and subsequent activation of the T cell infiltration. And now, so we are also working on another intervention that is called rapid SBRT, which is also a very strong immunogenic approaches against the NSCLC. So we were able to demonstrate that low dose radiation is a very strong non-invasive adjuvant for the cancer patient in toto. So now, apart from that, we are also working on the TAM-related long non-coding RNA, and that can be a very important component of the personalized and precision medicine. And we have identified, the TAM-related long non-coding RNA and its impact on the progression of the esophageal cells carcinosquamous carcinoma. And one of our students, Vandana, is working on the PDAC protein, P38 MAP kinase protein. And the idea here is that if you block the P38 MAP kinases, you relieve the stress in the tumor, and release the tumor-associated macrophages, and for the effector phenotype. And this data has been published last year, and now the story is under revision with Medical Oncology Journal. So we are now facilitated or accompanied with the GCC. We are now GCC Global Cancer Consortium affiliated cancer immunotherapy unit, and this is our team. And this is my team member upper in the figure, and my collaborator, and we are very well funded with the IGSTC, ICMR. And with this, I will take I stop my talk and take the question.
I'm sorry that you have to really rush. He's doing a great job. Now we move on to we'll go to Harish Sharma. I think you can straight away go ahead.
Yes. So I'll straight away. So thank you, Professor Prakash, for a very insightful deliberation. I would now like to request Professor Sharma, sir, to please kindly deliver his lecture on genomics of human heart failure, identifying therapeutic target genes. Please put your hands together and welcome us again.
We will finish in another 20-25 minutes before 2. Now we listen to other people, so he'll finish in 15 minutes. I had requested Linda also to say a few words for 5 minutes. Then our people can speak 3 minutes, and we'll close by 2 o'clock.
वहां नहीं जाना चाहिए अभी वहां नहीं जाना चाहिए वहां नहीं जाना कहाँ पे फ्लाइट कहाँ देखना पड़ा.
These are all value of, it's a treasure house of knowledge. Lot of research these people have done. So we have a lot of things to learn from them. And, youngsters, the researchers, young researchers, budding scientists. So you people now should look at all this. What do I do? Where do I launch my research areas? So all this, these are great opportunity to learn, to pick up, understand, create some new thoughts, ideas. So please be attentive, and these are great opportunities. I learn a lot from all these presentations.
Okay, guys, I'm just, yeah. So let me quickly take you through. It's working now? Yeah. Thank you very much for this nice platform where we are hearing multidisciplinary talks. And I would like to quickly show you some of the data which we have created over the years. It's a long-term project on heart failure, human heart failure. And there we would like to, it will be visible here, no? What happened? What happened, बेटा? चल तो रहा था, फर्स्ट क्लास चल रहा था, इट वाज वर्किंग, सब तो ठीक से चल रहा था, तुम हाँ, ये क्या हो गया? कॉपी कर दिया क्या? नहीं सर, कॉपी नहीं। अरे कहाँ गया वो? हैं? अभी तो फर्स्ट क्लास चल रहा था, मैंने खोल के चला दिया था। व्हाट डिड यू डू? हैं? आप लोग परेशान कर रहे हैं, क्या कर दिया? कहाँ चला गया? हाँ, स्लाइड मोड में किया तो था हमने, फर्स्ट क्लास चल रहा था, मैं चलाता है यहाँ। स्लाइड मोड में था ना। ये नहीं चलेगा? हाँ? Okay. So I'll show you some of the data quickly because I lost now the 3, 4, 5 minutes. I don't know what. Anyway, the everybody who is working in the field of science and is starting the research and embarking on a particular research area, because you learn technology, you learn the all techniques at the early stage, and then when you are trying to settle down to with a particular research area which will take you through, you come up with certain special people in your life. And for me, I had a privilege and also the opportunity to interact with Professor Judah Folkman, an amazing scientist from Harvard Medical School. He was working in the Children's Hospital, who coined the term angiogenesis. He's the one who coined the term angiogenesis and working on that time on growth factors. So this is one of my oldest memory from St. Gallen in Switzerland, and we were having discussion when I was with the Max Planck Institute as a young postdoc. And I continued my science in the area of vascular field, especially in the field of angiogenesis. And I would like to quickly take you through some of the data which we have created in the area of human heart failure, which is linked with the vascular or the stunted angiogenesis. So when you are working in the area, there are multiple pillars, I mean, which I just have taken, like research and audits, implementation of evidence, teaching, improved delivery, and healthcare. So Dr. Peter van der Speck has already, given you the whole framework, how the science has developed. But now this is the cutting edge science, which he showed at the moment. But they all have one principle, that you create the research in such a way that you create the data. So all those, experiments, the audits which you are creating, they are all creating the data. Now with the help of the modern science, which is artificial intelligence, machine learning and all, you could have the, petabytes of data, and then create a consensus out of it, which is so important for the healthcare. And you can implement it and obviously have the improved delivery of the healthcare. So when we started this work, we knew that in the human heart failure, the events which are starting in the heart are predominantly linked with the vascular tree. So one of the artery, either LCX, the left circumflex, or LED, is having, or the bundle branch are having the trouble there, means either atherosclerosis or having a sudden constriction leading to the heart to not work, and the patient wouldn't be surviving. So we wanted to study that model, and then this all developed is a very classical physiological model of collateral circulation. A pioneer in the area, Professor Wolfgang Schaper from Germany, and this was the time when I was developing my group there under his directorship. He was an amazing scientist in Germany. So I spent several years at that institute, built the group on angiogenesis before moving to Netherlands. So this is the model where we have created is a large animal model on the porcine heart, which is very comparable to the human heart. The pig heart is very similar to human heart because they have collaterals like humans. And in this case, we were developing a situation by putting the crystal here in the left circumflex coronary artery, and then looking at this area at the bottom, which is the area getting infarcted. So if you occlude the coronary artery, you create the infarction in the area. But before that, what are the events happening at the gene level? What are the tissue damage which is happening? The whole a process which we were looking at, this whole shifting from the normal functioning to the chronic ischemia model, where we wanted to look at these events. So this is the classical protocol when we have the stabilization occlusion for 10 minutes, 30 minutes reperfusion. So with this episodic occlusion and reperfusion therapy, we developed that there is a cardiac function is getting depressed. If you look at in the next slide here, that there is a hyperemic response. So the cardiac function is measured with the systolic wall thickening is reduced, and it is coming up after certain time, but it is not really reaching to the normal value. It takes at least 3 to 4 days to come up the normal value. So in this area, which are the very quick or called the stunning area, the time frame, we wanted to see what are the things happening in this, and also looking at here when the recovery of function. So the several genes are analyzed in different time frame. And we found out there were a lot of experiments done on this those days when we were working on this. I have taken only the work on growth factor. And here we have looked at the expression of VEGF, which is, a classical, when you have the occlusion, the expression of VEGF is enhanced. And you do the plotting of this data, you can see that the coronary artery occlusion leading to the transient induction of VEGF, which is getting lower after a certain time. These are various time points up to the 240 minutes. They are starting from 90. So it's a very rapid growth. Very rapid induction of the gene. But in the long term, we knew that the VEGF, being the growth factor for angiogenic initiator, which is really required at a very early stage, and constant supply of this growth factor for the vessel to grow and also to sustain eventually. We have, so when we took these animals and did the angiography, you can see that there is a formation of the blood vessel in the long term, which is collateral vessel formation. So in response to these rapid episode of ischemia and reperfusion leading to the angiogenic response, and that's what we wanted to establish. So the angiogenesis, many people, including us, have established several stages looking at the induction of VEGF via HIF1 alpha. So these are classical events which are very well defined over the years. And there we have looked at, the formation of these blood vessels. So it is quite difficult in case of the cardiac tissue, because this is a very complex tissue where you have to create, if the vessel has to grow, you have to, create the space for that vessel to grow. So there is a constant supply of many molecules which are needed through the circulating blood. The CD8 positive T cells, 4 positive, and the neutrophils, they all are in a concerted action leading to this reactive oxygen species, because the tip cell is feeling the ischemia, and you can imagine then these endothelial cells, which are originating from the hematopoietic stem cells, they start to grow and create this a massive blush-like fashions, because these creating a network of mesh. But this, whether this mesh is really conducting, or the blood is taking the blood or not, that remains the still major question. So we wanted to see in the patients how it is happening. I'll show you the data on the patients, and this was the same time when we were working, and that we showed this, and it came in the USA Today newspaper when I was asked to present and interviewed by the USA Today. And then I said that there is a possibility to create a natural bypass in the heart by bringing the growth factors. If we can induce the growth factors, there would be a day that we can have these hearts, those who are ischemic, by creating more vessels. So now to translate this all information, we went on to work on human heart failure in the patients with the which were coming to the Erasmus University Medical Center at the Thorax Center, and there these are basically the children, those who are less than 1 year, and also after the redo surgery they come back when they are adult. So we have the over the years, because the collection of the tissue is so rare, because there are not really so many patients, at least in our center or in Netherlands in total. But to understand what's happening in these children of the tetralogy fellow, because they undergo heart failure. So we wanted to, earlier it was not really possible to operate, but this all technology got developed over the years, and we are able to, do the complete diagnosis and can even operate in utero. So these young children are, taking the biopsy during the surgical correction of their problem in the heart, which I showed you here. The children, they have multiple problems: the overriding of aorta, the pulmonary stenosis, and also ventricular septal defect. So because of these multiple factors, there is a right heart failure. So we have this patient material. We went on to look at what is happening at the tissue level, what are the genes which are changing, and that was the whole project to understand the the onset of the heart failure. So this is to establish the hypertrophy by cellular staining. We could draw these cells and then measure by hand. We can measure the cross-sectional area of the individual cells. So from every section, about 120 cells are being measured for the cross-sectional area, and then from each section we had at least 12 images. So we were getting a lot of information. We are getting this whole data, and then you can put together this control versus tetralogy of fellow. You see there is a significant increase. These cells are hypertrophied, but in case of adults, they are 3 times more hypertrophied. So we wanted to, after establishing the hypertrophy, we would like to go through the expression protocol, and then this we did it with a very classical technology available on DNA microarray at the time of when we embarked on this project using the UV95 chip, which together Peter knows very well, together with actually one of the department, because it's we have one old tower at the Erasmus, and there this is a vertical university. So normally you have the campuses, like here you have multiple buildings, but with us, we had one tower, and you just use the lift as a corridor. So if you just take the lift, you are at different floor, different department, different technology, different expertise. It's incredible for collaborations and moving from one place to other. So that's how we would like to quickly look at this, the gene expression. And what we found here, the data, about 427 genes were altered in these children with the tautology of Fallot and with the heart failure. So we could understand, and about 200 genes were upregulated and similar number were downregulated. And we analyzed all these genes by classical plotting of the differential expression pattern. We have gone through to look at various growth factors, angiogenic growth factors, and also the tissue remodeling factors. And they are, we have localized all those molecules, particularly VEGF, and VEGF is present in these myocytes of the cardiac tissue, and it is as a granule, actually, VEGF in the cytoplasm. And we counted those vessels and looked at in the tissue versus heart failure versus the normal tissue. We found out that there is a classical, the number is much higher. So we have in the tautology of Fallot patients much higher blood vessels as compared to the control. And these number of vessels which are there are not really conducting vessels. So what we found that these vessels are really stunted. So they are not carrying the blood. And that is the major finding. That's how these children's heart is going into failure, because there is a lot of VEGF because the hypoxic situation. And this hypoxic situation leading to the more production of VEGF. So there is a kind of mesh-like of vessels are formed, but they are not carrying blood. And therefore, this is called the stunted angiogenesis. And we concluded this information by and getting back to the clinician. So it is basically, you're working from the bed to the bench and getting the information back to the bed and helping the patient. So there's a lot more data which we have leading to many papers. But I just wanted to show when we are doing when we are doing this kind of pathway analysis, a single gene can lead to the changes at a level which is so relevant. And here is, for example, just the creatine kinase we have looked at, and that can lead to the very complex situation. So I just wanted to conclude in such a way that the heart failure patients, we are able to identify a particular gene, and that gene we need to be working further for corrections. And there's a lot more to be done in this area, because we have many other battery of genes which we need to look. So I would like to thank everybody, and obviously we have this famous collaborators, Peter and Professor Adbogers. And Adbogers has been the surgeon who has been working in collaboration with our group, and Peter has been supporting in the area of bioinformatics. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
there's a lot to.
Tulip. Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. No. Yeah, thank you. So let's give a big clap to our Hari Sharma. And this lot of voluminous data, we will again invite him another day to come and talk to them separately. 1 hour lecture, we will have a colloquium by him. And so thank you so much, Hari. And now we will request Dr. Linda to spend about 5 minutes. And if you can just tell us something exciting that you are doing. And I would request other 3 presenters, you join us for lunch with them, and Pallavi and Jaslyn and also Mukesh. 3 of you will join us for lunch. And during lunch, we will discuss about your work. Okay, thank you so much because of time constraint. Go ahead.
Yes, over to you. Yeah, thank you so much. So my name is Linda Hoedelmans. I'm from the Netherlands. I work as a strategic manager, and what I do, I'm always looking for collaboration within university because I think that you have to work together, and not only with universities but also public, private, so commercial companies. Huh? And I think we have to collaborate. So now I'm focusing on Erasmus with the department of Peter van der Spek, Professor Peter, and we are very interested, and that's also why we are here. We want to look actively for collaboration on data-driven technologies in healthcare, but also pharmacogenomics. And specific on pharmacogenomics, the passport, we are looking for collaborations. That's why we also visit Goa and Bhopal. But yeah, I thank you for this opportunity to stand here, and I want actively ask you if you have good ideas or want to talk further during lunch with us to explore the pharmacogenomics passport. And I see there a mic, so maybe I can give you the mic, Peter, and tell a little bit more content-wise of what we are doing, the collaboration we are looking for. Is that an idea? Yeah, good. Thanks.
That's very well possible. Okay, so what we are actually going to do is collaborate with a group in Bhopal who make a pharmacogenetic passport where we measure star alleles to see with which patients we can give a lower dose of a particular drug or which patients we have to switch to another drug. So for the dosing, it's very important. And we also have, so that group in Bhopal, the Professor Attal came half a year ago to my group in Rotterdam to work for 2 weeks with us with some of his data. And he collaborated already with Harvard. And they had a study in the field of psychiatry, so where they monitor 2 enzymes very detailed on particular genetic variants. And as we are looking at different psychiatric medications also in the Netherlands population, and we had just finished with the Thai group in Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok, where I was a week ago. Specific genetic variants occur high frequency in Southeast Asia, which we do not see in the Netherlands. So we monitor basically at the global scale which variants are where particular dominant. And in that way, we want to set up multiple international collaborations, as there is also quite a large Indian population in the Netherlands, which we would like to facilitate as well. So we work on biobanks and all that kind of information with pharma and with academic centers together.
Yeah.
So
well, exactly. So yeah, come meet us at lunch and we can talk further, I hope. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that brings the conclusion of this mini symposium. Let's give a big clap to our students, PhD scholars, researchers, young faculty. You are the best. You know, you could so attentively, every one of you were listening to the presentation. I was seeing every one of your face. You know, you were not looking at the mobiles. You were not talking to each other. I'm so amazed that you people are so dedicated. You will certainly make a mark in life. So our great appreciation for our students and young researchers. Now, I would like to also place on record our gratitude to Founder President, who were listening right from the beginning. He had been sending messages on my mobile, appreciation and also what he has found. So he keeps telling that shows his commitment, for research, innovation. That is his passion, Genome. So thank you, Founder President, for giving such a kind of blessings and also attention to these activities in research and innovation. I would also like to thank our Chancellor who came all the way, because I know how busy he is to look after all this whole Amity universe, but still he found time to be with us. and they have invited the guests to come to AKC House in the evening, 6:30. So thank you, Chancellor, for this gesture. And also all my very distinguished guests, starting from my own friend, Professor Harish Sharma, and also Professor Lindsay, Professor Peter, and Anil could not come because his father-in-law passed away. So his ceremonies were there today, so he couldn't come. And also Dr. Linda for building the strategic partnership on internationalization, and also to the Pranit, who has joined us today from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and all my brilliant faculties from all our relevant institutes who have come. And I'm sorry that these three people will join us for lunch. You will discuss with them, and we will host you there so that you can talk to them also. And thank you so much, and take it forward. We are going to again sign another MOU with him, because that was done in the Netherlands. So now we will have Rotterdam. We will do it in that institute. That was earlier with Amsterdam. So we will do it once again, renew this connect. But we will now work together. Some of your students want to go there, PhD scholar want to go there, jointly mentored. Because if you want to joint mentorship from any one of them, whether it's on functional food, or it is on the AI application in diagnosis and prognosis, or in the angiogenesis, please come forward and tell us. Dr. Goodwill Coker, my colleague, will coordinate this, and please give your interest. We will connect you with them. And similarly, any faculty would like to go on a bilateral exchange program, faculty exchange or student exchange, joint PhDs, joint masters, develop their last semester project work, you can do in those institutions. So I want this to happen, and we will keep reviewing with Professor Sharma. Dr. Goodwill will organize this, and so that the outcome, we would like to see how many of you have shown interest, and then what are we going to do with Professor Harish Sharma. That is going to be followed up, and we will have a Zoom call with him to review, and then he will respond, and his colleagues also, so that there is an outcome coming from this interaction. So thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch and have a wonderful day ahead. Goodwill, thank you so much.